This is a big topic with the carrot. Like a lot of
Oh
people.
no, not carrot. Oh.
Wait, were you team? I forget. Were you team carrot for Straw Hat?
No,
Okay.
no, stop. Get Carrot out of here. Send her back to Zoe. Send her back to Zoe.
I mean, that's what's happening, right?
I mean, yeah, I talked about characters, you know, in One Piece usually living out their dream and doing what they want to do and not having something forced down their throat.
Yeah.
But when I see Carrot in this situation where she doesn't know if she wants to be leader of Zoe or not, I'm like, please, somebody just shove this roll in her face, man. Like, get her out of here. I don't hate Carrot, but I just think as far as Nakama goes, she's just like, she doesn't add much. She would literally join like the trio of Chopper, Nami, and Usopp, and she just blend into the crowd. Like, she's not unique minus her Sulong form.
Putting a Sulong in the weak trio.
I mean, well, weak until Sulong pops, right? I mean, it's like Chopper. Chopper's weak until he gets serious. Usopp, always gonna be weak. Nami has Zeus now. Like, I just feel like we don't need another character that is afraid of everything that happens. And Carrot would fit into that group.
Chopper does have an incredible feat, though. I don't know if you remember
Chopper,
this.
yeah.
In base, he stopped one of the Yakuza swordsmen with his foot.
wait. That is pretty cool.
Form.
But
yeah.
I mean, hey, it's like, but you have to remember, Yakuza, they're like bordering fodder, though. I thought you were gonna bring up the Queen feat where he slapped Queen and like drew blood,
form.
like
monster form, right?
But monster points, like what, like that's essentially his base form now too. Like he whips that out like it's nothing.
That's true. Wait,
we need new.
No, he needs the Rumble Ball for it still, right?
Yeah. But we need more Chopper forms. I think we need to expand the Hito no Mi fruit. I think it has a lot of like cool like room to grow.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay, let's reel it back into the chapter. We're just having fun now.
Yeah.
All right, okay, chapter 1056, Cross Guild. Cover page, we have Oven and Katakuri going against the Germa siblings. Do you think they're gonna pull out the Dubskis and beat Big Brother Katakuri?
So this is a big point. Like when I read it, in the thing, I just started smiling because Katakuri is one of my favorite characters, right?
He's dope. He's dope.
So quickly, I realized something about this, and I'm writing this for my so I do my chapter reactions as like a podcast now. So I just upload like a 30-40 minute clip of me just going off on the chapter, and one of the things it's like. This is unfortunate for Katakuri and Oven because they're not the main characters of this story. This is Germa's story. They're the main characters of the miniseries. I don't want it. I don't believe it. But like, it's the main character plot armor. What are we gonna see Germa lose in their?
You know they're gonna get out. You know Germa's gonna get out of this
some way or another.
All we have to do is like cross our fingers and pray that Katakuri does not take an L.
Yeah,
like we just have to hope that something happens. Maybe, you know, Caesar Clown comes in with the gas bomb, hazmat suit and everything, or Judge comes in and he sends his soldiers to stall them out. Like, there has to be some way to get out of the situation without having Katakuri take a fat L. And you know, another reason why I don't want to tie this in with things that aren't canon, but Katakuri was teased to be in Film Red. We can't have him taking a fat L and then go on to promote a movie, you know? Like, it wouldn't make any sense.
That's true.
We gotta hype him up.
Another thing is like we don't know what happened to Perospero and Big Mom on
Oh my god,
right?
yes.
So like maybe Perospero just calls like, hey Big Brother, I need your help. And then he's just like, all right. Germa's raiding our entire territory, but it's Big Mom. I have to go through.
But the time frame is different though, right? Because this is actually a flashback, I believe.
Yeah, we don't know how long. Like, we know that this was back in time, but we don't know how long of a duration the cover story is taking.
Yes.
But
we don't know how long they were held captive is the real problem.
Yeah, because like, I mean, in general, like Big Mom's timeline of like being on Wano is kind of wonky too. But like, one of the things that I think people forget too is apparently. At the minimum, the Vince Smoke siblings overcame Cracker because Cracker was guarding them to Whole Cake Island. So Cracker and Brulee, they had to go through them at some point. They were in Chocolate Town, which is a separate in Cacao Island, which is separate from Whole Cake Island. So they had to go through the mirror to Whole Cake Island, and we saw Cracker and Brulee covering that. And we don't know what happened to them. Did they just no diff Cracker so much that they just got off screen and now we're at Katakuri?
It's either they beat Cracker and Brulee, which Brulee is not a huge feat,
Yeah.
And then they made it here through the mirror, or they just came straight here incognito mode. We really just don't know.
Yeah, like
Like
maybe,
that's the hard part. Like
yeah,
if Cracker shows up with Brulee, like it's game over, right? Like
I
it's
hope
they're not making it out of here.
Yeah, I don't like Okay, this is probably, this isn't a hot take, but Vince Smoke's siblings are low key like high tier fodder, right? Like they're not like
Yeah,
insane.
I would agree. They stall off like, you know, the Charlotte family. We saw them going against them at the wedding party, and they held their own. Like they're not weak. They just aren't Yonko commander level, you know? Like if you put them against like a one-on-one, Ichiji versus Katakuri or Ichiji versus Cracker, we're gonna have to like debate, like would they win, would they lose? Like it's not gonna be like cut and dry, because like you said, they are like that high tier fodder. Like if they were in the Beast Pirates, you'd put them at Toby Roppo. Yeah, they'd be like Toby Roppo level, right? They wouldn't necessarily be like an all-star.
Okay, yeah, they wouldn't be an all-star, but like even I feel like Toby Roppo's
not
still
even
high.
What?
I don't know. No, but like okay, Toby Roppo isn't fodder, but they aren't like crazy. But like but like it's so hard to scale Whole Cake Island to Onigashima, like the Toby Roppo.
Okay,
and like
fair.
Could they 1v1 a Toby Roppo member?
I feel like they could. I honestly feel like they could. If Germa technology is strong enough to have Sanji like perform his crazy feats against Queen, these guys have to at least be able to take out like Sasuke or somebody like that, right?
So I don't get too much into power scaling, but recently there's two major things that hit me. Somebody said,
what's up?
Judge is Yonko commander level.
Oh, stop.
And then the other thing, this one's the more real one, was when Sanji had his raid suit, he barely phased page 1 on Wano.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And that was actually like, he wasn't, you know, there's a debate of whether he was meaning to like actually defeat him or he was staying incognito and just trying to escape. But at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure that kick is probably stronger than most of what the Vince Smokes. Yeah.
I will have to agree. But if the fight continue with Sangoro, you know, the Soba cook or Osoba mask versus page 1, we don't know who would have won. You know, I'm just throwing it out here. The Vince Smoke siblings can at least beat page 1.
Well,
you know, that is the lowest feat I will give you grounds on here. They could, you know, they might be able to defeat page 1.
And then what are we saying? For Toby Roppo can take on, actually if we put in that level for Toby Roppo versus Katakuri and Oven, nah, that still doesn't make sense.
No, Katakuri and Oven would win.
Oven
is actually low-key really strong.
I mean,
like how he didn't become how he didn't become a Yonko commander for Big Mom is kind of beyond me.
And we learn in this chapter
how
why Snack got demoted. It makes so much sense. I was like,
oh my god.
Like that shit was crazy. I mean, like we're skipping through, but do you want to wait till we get there? Or
we'll wait. Okay, let's first page of the chapter. We see Raizo and Shinobu. They look decrepit, man. Like they don't look too good. Disheveled. They look like they got wrapped in spider web. Like they're dead.
Yeah.
Or you know, dead to us, but they're alive in the One Piece verse.
The biggest surprise here was just like, to me, the meme was like, when I first read it, I was like, damn, they're dying. Hopefully they have, good thing we have the 3 best doctors in all of One Piece here. Marco, Chopper, and Law. And then I look at the panel, and then they leave it to Mr. Miyagi. I'm like, oh my god.
Mr. Miyagi, who like, you know, almost killed Zoro with the mink medicine. Yeah, good old Mr. Miyagi.
Chopper, Law, Marco.
Glad he's here.
Your insurance doesn't cover our cover. Wano doesn't have universal insurance policies.
They're getting brought back up. Kinemon's apologizing, and they actually agree that Kaido's presence kept the other threats at bay. I thought that was kind of surprising that they agreed on that. But at the same time, you have, like, let's be real here. Yes, Kaido's presence did deter other threats. But at the same time, the threat of Admiral Green Bull was nothing compared to the threat of Kaido. Like, I would much rather have Admiral Green Bull here.
Yeah. I think this line is more so just like recognition, and it's weird because they still attribute, they don't know that Momo wasn't the one who like ultimately,
which is crazy. I thought that was so strange. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to discredit Momo by any means, but the fact that like nobody realized that, hey, an outside presence must have sent him away is kind of nuts, right? Because he literally yelled, "Whoa, what is this? Conqueror's Hockey, red-haired pirates."
Yeah,
and then
Yamato's
they're like,
there.
"Oh, Momo."
Yeah.
Yeah, like you have Yamato, you have freaking Nekomamushi and Uranashi. Like you have people who are adept at hockey, right?
Yeah.
And nobody sensed it.
Yeah, like if Jinbei could sense that far away, like, oh, that's some monstrous Conqueror's Hockey, you would think that Neko would be like, oh, that's some Roger level shit going
like,
on.
Like I'm feeling something here.
Yeah,
Something's in the air.
They were on Whitebeard and Roger's ship. They know what that is, right?
Yeah.
So,
like they have firsthand experience with Conqueror's Hockey. And
if anything,
it's fine.
wait a second. Now that we bring this up, they know Shanks.
Yeah.
Wait, they know Shanks.
They know Shanks too.
Him.
I mean, they probably don't know that, like, you know, he grew up and became a freaking monster, but at the same time, like, they should at least have like a slight hint, right? Like, oh, like how Luffy was like, oh, a familiar face popped in mind.
Yeah.
You think Neko and Inu were like, oh yeah, a familiar friend from a long time ago popped in my mind.
Yeah, they called him.
It's
Red
such
Taro.
a minor thing. Yeah, Red Taro.
Yeah.
It's such a minor plot point, but I just thought it was like, you know, kind of interesting that we glossed over that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there's a few things with the Shinobu. Shinobu wasn't even shown to be, you know. And that was
shocking.
I made a joke last live reaction. I was saying, Ryokugyu aimed for Raizo. Why didn't he go for Shinobu? If we hit Shinobu, we would have gotten the original Shinobu. And I was joking, and then
it happened.
And then I was like, all right. No one could have predicted it like that, and it was just a complete meme. And then Oda actually gave it to us, which is now hilarious because now we kind of have to expect Giga Chad Raizo.
Oh, dude, I mentioned it like, yo, Raizo's gonna pull up. This dude's gonna look like Kakashi or something. If you like pay attention to the chapter, Raizo was MIA. Like Oda's actually giving this man like quote unquote a silhouette. This is one of those silhouette cliffhangers for Raizo. Like, what is he gonna look like? And same with Queen.
Yeah.
Is he actually gonna pull all the ladies? Because he mentioned it when we first met him. He said, yo, like the reason I'm not skinny is because I'd pull all the women. Like I'd have too many girls.
Yo,
like what if that is true?
Oh my goodness. I didn't think about that. Oh, what happens? King was already doing it. What happens now?
Well, King didn't really get sucked to the same extent that Queen did, though.
Yeah.
Like King, you could still tell it was him. Queen, oh man, dude, that was like a dehydrated balloon. Like he did not look good. Like a ball sack.
Yeah, the
like a ball sack in the winter.
Chad pirates now.
Yeah, the Chad pirates. Just a bunch of handsome men at that point.
Yeah, exactly. What the heck?
Yeah, it was, dude. This chapter's freaking cool.
I mean, it fits. Like this chapter is full of laughs. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's so lighthearted. It's nice having these chapters after like spending what seems to be 100+ chapters of fighting, and like build up in tension. Yeah.
Like this, and then like the payoff with the next part with like the Osuru in Kingdom.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, like that just felt really, really good.
I thought it was kind of funny. I made this joke, but Otsuru had a fake out death and Kinemon also had a fake out death. Like they were meant for each other.
Their kid is gonna solo the verse.
Their kid is also gonna have a couple of fake out deaths or something.
The most durable kid.
He just won't die as plot armor.
Yeah, durable and loyal, because both of them got loyalty.
They're so cool, man. I love Kinemon's character. Like he's goofing around here, but like whenever we have those like Kinemon flashbacks in the anime, I'm not gonna lie, like a little tear like pops down the cheek. It's like, oh damn, bro, this guy's the homie. Beautiful. Shoot, I think Wano might be like jokes aside, it might be one of the best places to live in the New World. Everywhere else is being ransacked. Wano has closed borders. They have samurai and everybody to protect you. I mean, now they do.
Now we know they have all this fresh water. Man.
Yeah, like they're living good.
Low key, is that a plot hole that like they could have been drinking the seawater this whole time? Because it's not.
Like, 1000%.
They were all starving off of the river water, and all they had to do was go to the ocean.
Which is crazy, right? Because like if you had to choose between drinking poisoned river water or, you know, taking a chance in drinking like ocean water and trying to dilute it, like why didn't they try that? And then they'd eventually just like they had 20 years. It's not like this is a span of a month. They had 20 years to figure out that their ocean was fresh water. Yeah,
and the worst part, okay, this is, I mean, we're detracting from the chapter, but the worst part is Sukiyaki knew that whole time.
Oh Bro, why didn't Sukiyaki tell Tama? Tama's drinking poisoned water every other day.
And he just goes down and is like, oh, yeah, it's fresh water.
He just, wow, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I laughed, and I was just like, all right, we're not going to talk about this on the stream because that's just messed up. But, like, low-key, that's messed up.
Yeah, you're just like Roger when he finds the One Piece. He laughed. We're just laughing at Tama's misfortune. I like to think Sukiyaki was just laughing at all the people drinking the poisoned water.
I knew you'd love this take.
That is why he wore the Tengu mask, because he was just busting up laughing underneath. He just couldn't hold back the tears.
For those of you guys who don't know, this is Sai on Twitch. This is what he's like on his Twitch stream.
Hey, the bad words are gonna be beeped out.
Yo, when Sukiyaki said that, I was like, oh my god, boy. You savage guy.
What a savage. Dude. Do you ever think, like, was there ever a chance for him to get Pluton himself and use it against Kaido? Like, he never... I mean, maybe he doesn't have a way to open the borders himself, and that's why he didn't do it. But imagine if that was, like, an option. Just go nuclear, get Pluton out, and defeat Kaido with it.
So I'm not going to get into it now, but I have like this, maybe I'll be able to get the video out before we do the stream on my channel with you, and then we could talk about it, because I haven't been making a Pluton theory because I have so many other things I've been focusing on, and there's so many Pluton theories, and I was like, I kind of agree with that one and this one and that one. I guess we'll see. But like, I think the term resting is really, really important, because like the way, just to like kind of describe it, we were told that the original Pluton was essentially built in Water 7, and it rests in Wano. So I think that's a huge clue into at least my line of thinking. Whether I'm right or wrong, that's separate. But we also do get a very interesting line in this chapter about ancient weapons that I got a lot of shit for on stream, but I was just like, yo, this is 100% foreshadow. Like,
dude, Pluton is super hype. And I mean this chapter and everything about Pluton so far leads credence to what we talked about during your last live stream too, about Pluton potentially being, you know, quote unquote alive to some extent.
Yeah. I mean, like, we're skipping around, but like when Shinobu debuts her look, and I'm like, damn. But then when I read her lines, I was like, I jaw dropped again.
Yeah, mature women are weapons.
Yeah, did you say that mature ladies are alluring ancient weapons? And it's like Shirahoshi is literally like Garp literally power scaled her beauty. Like, that's like, she is an alluring ancient weapon. And then there's a huge thought that Vivi is Uranus, and so she's another princess, a mature lady, and it's like then we're just creating the
they're all ancient weapons.
Yeah, and then
ancient weapons are just beautiful women.
Like, Oda doesn't throw, like, when we're talking about ancient weapons, like what reason does Oda have to make Shinobu bring up ancient weapons, right? Like, that line feels important. We already know Poseidon is a female mermaid that, you know, is Poseidon, so it could just let us know that Vivi is Uranus. That could just be what that connects to. It doesn't necessarily need to be that Pluton also is that too, right?
It doesn't have to be like 1-to-1.
It doesn't mean all of them. It could just mean, you know, hey, like, you don't know 2 of the other ancient weapons, so maybe this is the other one.
Before we even get to the ancient weapons, we have Carrot being appointed as the new ruler of the Mokomo Dukedom. What do you think about that? Do you think Carrot's actually going to be the leader of Zou? And do you think she should be the leader of Zou?
Should she be? My first reaction when I read it, I was like, literally before we got to the line, when they said like she was going to be it, I was like, wait, there are way more capable people. And then the next line she said, there are more capable people. And then the capable people were like, nah, we'll just be your like knight in shining armor. And I was like, all right. And then Wanda is essentially being like, you know, I'll be your right hand. I'm like, all right, I like this. I like this feeling. Something someone pointed out to me was like, their logic in saying it was Pedro's will lives on more in you than it does in anyone else.
What is Pedro's will? Like, that what the heck is Pedro's will? So the only thing Pedro ever like really harped on was bringing out a new dawn, a new era. But that is so ambiguous. Because he believed that the Roger Pirate's going to do it, and then he believes that the Straw Hats are now going to do it instead. But it's like, did he mean like a new era for Wano? Because that's done. Or did he mean like a new era for the entire world? Which, if that's the case, then Pedro's will would technically be to go with the Straw Hats.
Right. And so like, and we saw that too with like when Pedro was a kid, he wanted to join Roger, and Roger said like, I'll put you on the wait list, you'll have your time to shine, which is like completely out of, if Roger got to see his time to shine, I think Roger would have been like, that's not what I meant, Pedro. Like,
yo, time to light the bomb.
Yeah, like Roger's
Pedro's
looking down
gone.
from wherever he is, and it's like, oh, Pedro, that wasn't what I meant by your star.
Yeah, Roger was probably, bro, you have plot armor, man. You could have waited like 2 more minutes or something.
Yeah.
You didn't have to do that.
But with this line of context, I was thinking more so that like now we know that Zunisha is integral for bringing the dawn, right? Because we need Zunisha to open up the borders, to release Pluton, and another thing that, you know, back on the Pluton theory, that I told one person this in secret, like I just hopped into their stream, it was like, and they were like talking about my theories, and I was just like, ooh, there's not, you know, let's talk about it. And then so I shared it to him, and his eyes lit up, and I was like, yo, this is crazy. But essentially, another important clue is that whatever Pluton is, Luffy needs it. Luffy, it's essentially Luffy's weapon, because like Odin was saying, we need to open up Wano for Joy Boy, right? So that inherently, like out of all the ancient, Otahime said, not Joy Boy, but you know, someone will guide Poseidon, and we're assuming that's Joy Boy. And then on with Wano, with Pluton, now that we know what Odin meant, we can kind of infer that whatever Pluton is, it's really important for Luffy's character or his power or whatever he needs to do, because Odin felt so inclined to open up Wano, an ancient weapon, regardless of like what that meant for Joy Boy's return. And so
20 years early, he wanted to open it up.
Right. And so now going back to the carrot thing, whoever is now, obviously they don't control Zunisha, but wherever Zunisha goes, they need to be, that group of minks needs to be strengthened, needs to be emboldened. And the thing about Neko and Inu's rule, it was that they were essentially divided. They split up the days, 12 hours, and they separated the rules. So, you know, it wasn't going to be something where one person takes over the rules, so they did need to pass it on to somebody
new.
Yeah, and they're technically part of Roger's era. They're not part of this era, so you know, it makes sense for them to pass it on to someone younger. So that does take out, like, you know, the Three Musketeers in a way, and Carrot was the highlighted character because she essentially pursued Pedro's will by leaving. She stood against everybody's wishes. She escaped and went through. So she's the one pursuing the dawn more than anybody else. And so now that we know that Zunisha is integral to bringing that dawn, it does make sense in terms of qualifications, though, because I said all this yesterday, and I was like, bro, she lost the Perospero in Sulong form with Wanda.
With Wanda. Like, it was 2v1, they lost, they couldn't beat him. Their Sulong form did go away, but even then, like, Neko finished him off really quick in Sulong. Like, it took less than like a panel.
Yeah, and that's the one thing we need out of the minks right now, is they need to learn Sulong, because like we can't have an army of minks show up on the rooftop and just get like essentially no diff by, like, not no diff, but like, you know, Jack and, you know, a few good men took care of them. And then Kaido kind of, I think I might be forgetting the progression, but Kaido kind of like watched until Jack got like destroyed by Neko and Inu. But yeah, we can't. The Sulong garnered so much power from Whole Cake Island. The one description that like the Big Mom Pirates and Jinbei gave, it's like, yo, these people are monsters. Peckham had to take out his eyeballs so that he wouldn't go in Sulong. And then someone said the most out of pocket thing. It made me so upset. They were like, we need Beppo, Supreme Commander, on Zunisha to train them. I'm like, get the shit out of here,
dude. I mean, yeah, get it out of here. But at the same time, we haven't seen Beppo Sulong, so what if it is like stupid strong? What if it is what if that is the ancient weapon?
What if Beppo is permanently in Sulong because he's a polar bear?
Oh
so
my
he's
god!
Permanently white. Like, I don't know what to
he's
say
just
about
always
that.
white, so he's just infinite Sulong form. This is the strongest he'll ever get.
Yeah, he's just memeing. He's a straight up meme.
If he doesn't even have a bounty, I think.
Yeah, just to clarify for the viewers, when Beppo is strong, when he shows up, I'll be the first one to cheer and see, because I'm Team Beppo, but I'm not Team Current Beppo. That is,
Yeah,
I can't be. I'm upset.
he's being left behind. He's being left behind.
Yeah.
Same with John Bart. Why is he even in the crew?
But the funniest part about this carrot thing was like the carrot for straw hat thing. I literally was just like, I'll reenact what I did yesterday in stream. I was like, this is carrot for straw hat, and this is what Oda thinks about it. Just fucking gone. Like, just fucking gone.
He doesn't want it, bro. You know what's funny? I think there was a slight part of Oda that drew Carrot to become Nakama at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like he definitely thought about it, but somewhere down the line, like maybe midway through Zou or Whole Cake Island, he said, never mind, it's not working out. Like, nobody likes Carrot. I don't like Carrot. You know, like, we're gonna toss her to the side for now. Give us Yamato.
The thing is, though, she didn't take an L because now she's a queen.
No,
and so another meme after I brought up the alluring ancient weapons part was that maybe Carrot is Pluton because she's
oh my gosh
another mature. I was like, oh god, no. Like,
mature women are just taking over now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm here for it. I like that.
Yeah.
Is like, I mean, is Pluton gonna be a mature woman ship? That's you know, people forget that technically we do have Sanwan Wolf is a colossal battleship, and that is a person, so maybe there is a colossal female battleship that is just resting underneath Wano.
A giant mechanical battleship woman underneath Wano.
Yeah.
Well, what if the volcano is actually part of the machine? It's part of Pluton.
I don't know if you've seen this. This was like the title of it sounds like a meme, but one of my members of my Discord, Dax Sake, he has a Pluton is a mole theory, which sounds like a meme, but it's like it's a 9-minute video, and he didn't even, when I watched, I was like, wait, this is incredible. This makes so much sense, actually. And like when you watch, I'm like, all right, hold on. And then I talked to him and I was like, wait, you missed the most important evidence for this. And so like, you know, teasing his he might be making a part 2, teasing it a little bit. Do you remember there was a major port in Wano that raises ships, like you know, like everyone was wondering why is this port not a thing? Like, you go from the sea level and you rise up to, there's only one port that was considered a legal port, and that was that port. You remember that one?
Yes. I don't remember the name of it, but I remember
the name is important. What's the name of the port?
See, the only port in my mind right now is Tokage Port, because that's like the one we saw this chapter.
So that port is Mole Port.
Oh.
Yeah, and he didn't put that in the video. I got so upset. I'm like, how are you gonna do this meme awesome theory and not include that? Because he's essentially
your biggest piece of evidence.
He's saying that port was made by the mole in essentially like when the sea level was or the rainwater was accumulating. That's what create, because how else would you create, like, it's not like they had Law's power to create such a deep hole. Like, even when you look at the stairs, they have to make stairs and it's zigzag, but not that port's crazy. And so yeah, he has a YouTube, Dax Sake Pluton Mole Theory, or like join my Discord, he's there, it's like tagged in his name. It's a good theory, for sure. I like it.
The mole theory. Yeah,
it's fun. I never even contemplated that, and I'm so out there with ideas, and so I was like, wow, this is a good one. So yeah, that's definitely a favorite right
Shout
now.
out to the mole theory, the mole man. I mean, at this point, like, Pluton and everything else, it just feels like we're all buying our lottery tickets. You know, somebody's hoping to hit it big with like some crazy numbers, and if they do, they made it.
Yeah, like, I have my own version, and I told him, I said, like, even though I have my own thought, like, I'm liking yours. I'm liking yours a lot.
Admiring his lottery ticket.
Yeah, for sure.
So after the whole Carrot debacle, which, like I said, I'm with you. I think she's totally going to go back to Zou, become their leader, even though she is somewhat incapable and, you know, not up for the job. She will get it done. She has a bunch of people behind her. But after that, we see that Sukiyaki actually does face the people of Wano. He faces the Scabbards, he faces Momo and Hiyori and etc. And he says something pretty big. He says, there may be some things I can shed light on. That's all an old cogger like me is good for anyways. And then he cuts off. What do you think he was going to tell them? I feel like it has to be Pluton related. We've been talking about Pluton this whole time, and that's really the only thing that Sukiyaki offers to them, or could offer to them, is maybe Pluton, ancient Wano lore. Like, I don't know what else he would know that he wouldn't have told the Straw Hats already. Yeah. Especially Robin and Law, when he was down there with them.
I think it's probably just Pluton related. Yeah. Either that or it's the Poneglyph stuff that, you know, they're not privy to, but Odin was. Yeah. And so, you know, one of the things that Odin's legacy carried was that the Scabbards had a mission that they had no foresight on. They had no background on, nothing. They just kind of like, you know, they were upset with Odin leaving them again on Wano for Roger's journey, and we never get an understanding if Odin ever explained to them like why, the purpose, all of that. But when he was boiling, he essentially like lore dumped on them while he was there, and he was just like, the Kozuki is the one who closed Wano. The Kozuki like are the reasons why
we did that.
Yeah. And so though this happened, we need to open up the borders. So, and he tossed them, and they had no, they didn't even be like, wait, what? They had no, they just like had to run. And so from then, that point on, they were just set on this essentially wild goose chase, because like they just had to listen to Odin's words with no context, no understanding, no foresight. And so now Sukiyaki can maybe give some, because like last chapter, you know, Robin's like, wait, why did Odin want to unleash Pluton? And he's just like, I don't know, maybe Odin learned something on his travels. And Sukiyaki does have a piece of what Odin learned on the travels. He has 2 of them. And we don't know what, like, not what more, but the whole underwater Wano thing. We don't know what that entails for Wano, essentially, because I mean again, going back to the whole point of like, this is fresh water, maybe he's just gonna be like, hey, by the way, this is all fresh water that you guys can use. Like, I don't know.
I hope he leaves that part out. I at this point, like, just retire and don't tell anybody. Like, take that to the grave like your DB Cooper.
Yeah,
like, please.
And we'll talk about that underwater thing again, because it's actually important later on. Someone pointed out, and I'm like, yo, you're actually right. But I think what's even more interesting is the next part of actually wait, real quick. Talking about Kinemon hype, that face he made.
Oh my god, I love that.
I loved it. That
is my favorite face. But he has that face deep down, but in reality he's like, okay, yeah, I knew this all along. I love that so much.
Like, everyone else had like observation hockey, and then I was laughing. I was like, okay, so Kinemon's durability is like like god tier durability, but his observation hockey is, and like a low key, it made sense. I was like, okay, he took so many beatings, he has brain damage at this point. Like,
dude, you know what'd be funny if that's the face that Sukiyaki makes whenever somebody drinks poisoned water. he's like, just no, don't drink it. He's just like freaking shocked. He's like, there's fresh water over to your left, please.
Yeah, if he ever divulges that, it's just like, bro.
Yeah, no, don't.
I would be upset with him. I don't care how much I love Sukiyaki or Odin. I'd be like, bro, you're joking, right? Like, you knew this whole time?
Okay, so going down, Pluton. We've been talking about Pluton like a majority of this video.
Yeah.
But Pluton, Luffy doesn't want it. Robin offered it to him. And yeah, Luffy just turns it down. We all knew he would. There wasn't really any debate about like whether Luffy would say, yes, let's get Pluton and unleash the beast right now.
Yeah.
But one thing that I thought was kind of interesting, since we were talking about like Pluton for a little bit, since it is an ancient Wano, and with the structure of Wano being like, you know, this weird tank town kind of situation, what if Pluton is actually just a giant mechanical fish, and this is kind of like a fishbowl for him, and that's why there's fresh water in here? That sounds kind of dumb, but I just thought about it. I'm like, wait, it's like, I don't know. Do machines work better in fresh water than in ocean water? I guess that wouldn't matter. I don't know
what? I
just tossing ideas.
You need to make a theory video, because
I don't like making theory videos. I can't.
I know you don't. But every time we talk, you drop something, and I'm just like, yo, this is fun. Do it. Like, but the I didn't even think of. So okay, that's a great idea, because a leak into my idea is essentially, even if I leak this, nobody's gonna understand. They're gonna think I'm crazy by saying this, but when you break the walls of Wano, your idea aside, because your idea fits here, what essentially it sounded like, if once you break the walls, there's no stopping Pluton. That's the way it was kind of it sounded. So
like the fresh water's holding it back.
And my thought is like, what, when you break the walls, what actually gets unleashed?
Yeah.
Like no, I mean like when you think of, if I broke the walls of Wano, what's the first thing that would happen?
Just the fresh water would release,
and so then
the
I
air
was
would
like,
come back, ocean water, etc.
And so I was like, yo, if we take this like literally, then the water is the important thing here. The water, you can't stop the water from coming out. And so I won't go in too depth in that, because like everyone's gonna think I'm crazy, but I promise you, when you watch the video, you're gonna be like, oh fuck, like that's kind of scary. But the fish idea, a giant mechanical fish, that would be sick. That would,
I don't know. I feel like there's something there.
Yo,
Frankie, I always bring it up, but Frankie was always like shocked by the blueprint. So it has to be something that we, or at least he probably hasn't made yet in the Sunny.
Well, he does have the submarine.
He has the submarine. He has the shark too.
Yeah.
What if he's like just trying to get,
right? The submarine is the shark.
So.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
I think he's getting close to building Pluton, or at least he wanted to like mimic it to an extent. Maybe I've heard people say that before too. Like he wants to like get close to building something to Pluton.
Wait, hold on. Yo, you know what's a signature thing about a submarine? There's like, when I think of a submarine, there's one signature thing that I always think of.
I think of torpedoes. I don't know why.
Okay, that's a good one. That's
I want war.
I always think about the peephole. Like, you know how they always have like the thing and it peeps out the water and then you see? Low key, what if Wano is the giant and Mount Fuji is the peephole? And it's just a giant submarine. Wait, that's kind of funny now that I think about it.
Oh god. We're getting too crazy with this now. Like I mean, there were theories that like Wano was like a turtle.
Yeah.
I mean, like it was a turtle, it was Pluton, etc. And it's like, I mean, if Wano starts moving, like, I mean, I'd be pretty freaking scared too.
Yeah, like that would be, wow, that would be crazy if because Pluton, not Pluton, Wano is like, we talked about it on King of Lightning stream. Wano's like double Australia. Like Shanks, we were talking about this in the reference of Shanks. Shanks is observation hockey and Conquerors hockey is like double Australia, because he was doing from sea floor across like the other sea into the middle of Wano.
It was like mini kilometers. Like Shanks was crazy with that.
The one-time pixel scalers are valuable to measure.
Shanks, you know, like China's afraid of 5G towers. Shanks is like 6G. Like the guy's on a different level, man.
Yeah, that shit was wild. Wi-Fi hockey is real, bro.
Yeah, it is. So after they're done talking about Pluton, we already talked about Shinobu. She comes in, she drops that fat, alluring ancient weapons line, which you already brought up was, you know, a big hint to what Pluton and Uranus might actually be. Sanji starts fangasming over her. And then Tama says something kind of interesting, or at least something that I picked up on. She says, big bro, I'm gonna be Shinobu's apprentice. Think I can get strong enough to join your crew next time we meet? And then Luffy accepts that. If you can use Nenjutsu, then yeah, I don't mind keeping you on.
And she goes, nin. Yeah, I love that.
I've made this point right here, that whenever you have a character making a promise to a kid to join their crew, it never happens. Like Roger and Pedro, like we talked about that. Roger and Pedro, they made that promise, never happened.
Luffy, Shanks.
Yeah, Luffy, Shanks, Tama, and freaking not Tama. You had Yamato and Ace. Like whenever somebody makes a promise to join the crew later on in the future, it never pans out. Yeah, and you know, especially more so if it's a kid.
Tama, Ace too.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, it's like, wait, is this like a death flag for Luffy? Or like maybe saying that they might not meet again by the time she's older and knows ninjutsu?
Well, I was already thinking that like she's not joining his crew ever.
Oh, definitely not. No, it's not happening.
You bring up a good point, because now it's more sounds like she just wants to be a pirate on her own. Yeah. Like, because that was the trend, right? Like Luffy, what were the other examples? I forget. Oh, no, Page. Oh yeah, Pedro had his own pirate crew.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Pedro had his own pirate crew and everything.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's either she could have her own crew or, ninja group eventually.
yeah.
Or, I mean, if there's ever like a two-piece, maybe she joins the crew of two-piece.
She's joining Boofy. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
She's joining Boofy's crew. Yeah, it's just down the line. Boofy shows up and Tama's like, right there beside him. I think that'd be kind of dope, actually. I don't know. I think a One Piece sequel would be nice.
Everything's nice until it's not, and so like I'm down for it until it's not. That's kind of what it is. Like I was open to Boruto, but then when Boruto wasn't great, then it's like, all right.
The problem with Boruto, and the reason why I think Naruto couldn't pull off a sequel but One Piece could, is because Naruto went nuclear with the power scaling at the end, right? You had Naruto and Sasuke fighting a literal god.
Yeah.
Like, how do you top that in a sequel about his kid? So they started bringing technology in, and they kind of messed up the power scaling in the world, and etc. Like, who else could they fight that couldn't have been in the original series? As far as One Piece goes, you're always going to have new people and new Devil Fruit cycle in and out. So I feel like the way that One Piece can justify having more strong characters coming into the series makes sense. Naruto couldn't do it because they went off the deep end. Dragon Ball couldn't do it because they introduced the gods of destruction, and now they're just going apeshit on that.
Yeah.
I think One Piece could pull it off.
On the Boruto note, I think them going nuclear mode is fine, but the problem was they continued it. They didn't need to continue it, especially at the rate they were going, because like Boruto was boxing with gods like with at age 10, and I'm like, all right, okay, like there's no build up, like we're gonna have like 100 episodes of filler or how many ever chapters, and then gods. And I'm like, okay, all right. And so like in One Piece, we're having that level of power, but that doesn't need to continue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The series can be interesting without having Bajrang Gun decimating an island, right? Like there's so many other interesting. One Piece, for one thing, is like it's not even interesting. I mean, it is interesting for the fights, but that's not the core competency.
It's the world building. It's the characters. There's so many like moving parts in One Piece.
Yeah, and we've seen 1% of the world. So we just need to tap into another 1% of the world, and we can have two piece. We have two piece, 3 piece, 4 piece, however many pieces you want.
I'd be pretty down with that. We don't need it for sure. I think One Piece will be very all encompassing, but having another one, I think One Piece could actually pull it off, unlike its predecessors.
The way Two Piece goes, Luffy goes to the One Piece, he sees it, he gets so upset, he rips it in half, it's in 2 pieces, he gets executed, and he's like, if you guys really care about it, I left it in 2 pieces, and then go find it.
And then Boofy has a rivalry with another character too, like something like a Sasuke.
Yeah.
So Boofy and Sufi just going for the 2 piece. So after Tama's promise, we have Caribou mentioning that there's a certain someone who would love to hear about ancient weapons, and there's a lot of people guessing who it is. I've heard anything from Marines to Imu-sama to freaking Dragon. I've seen Blackbeard, Buggy even. And at this point, I'm not too sure. It could honestly be anyone. Who do you think it is?
So I made a TikTok about this, the parallels, because I predicted this thing, and that we would see Caribou listening in on a Pluton conversation, because the exact scenes from chapter 650 with King Neptune like felt the exact same way when Robin was talking to Sukiyaki in chapter 1052, I think it was, or 1051, I forget which one.
Yeah,
the recent chapters I need to like re-download, because like they're just so recent that like everything's just jumbled up kind of. And in that line, I was saying Caribou is going to be here, and I've been every time I bring up Caribou, everyone, like half the fandom gets so upset. They're like, stop talking about Caribou. I'm like, yo, Caribou is going to be important. He's going to be important. Like I brought up so many important things in my Caribou Mythical Zoan video, and like whether you disagree or not with the Mythical Zoan part, the other parts were really, really key, where it's like I went through all the possible options for this who this other person would be. And it's like we went through all the Yonko, and at Fishman Island, when he said this in Fishman Island in chapter 652, he said like, oh, like someone like I want to share who Poseidon is to this certain somebody. And so, you know, you could think it's Big Mom, you could think it's Kaido, you could think it's Doflamingo, but we erased all of them.
We nixed them.
Yeah, so it can't be them anymore. Then it's like, is it Shanks? Maybe, but that would be a little weird. Is it Blackbeard? Maybe, but Blackbeard hasn't gone after ancient weapons or poneglyphs yet. From the story we've seen, he's only gone after devil fruits. So that's a separate thing. It could still be Blackbeard. He could be the 10th Titanic captain. Sure. Now, then I was like, okay, maybe it's a new character. Maybe it's Vegapunk. Maybe and I was kind of, I forget who I said in the video, but one of the people I said definitely not was Dragon. But recently with Roger's base, we had a back and forth in the Shanks Summit of King of Lightning, and I was like, wait, hold on, it could maybe be Dragon. The main thing was like, you know, he's too bad, but then Rogers was like, you know, there's bad apples in every organization, especially one that's as spread as the Revolutionary Army, so maybe it is that, and maybe it's like all a cover. And I was like, but then because of this chapter, Buggy hits a little nicer for me, because Buggy was he established his warlord Buggy delivery system during the time skip, so we don't know who he's in contact with, and they're a similar genre of character in the first place, and so it could very well be that, like, you know, the news of the Straw Hats came up and Caribou was like assigned to go check them out by Buggy on Sabaody, because Caribou was the strongest rookie, if I'm correct, on Sabaody. He was a marine killer too. And now that Buggy is putting hits out on marines, it's like, wait, like him and Buggy, they're starting to have more connections here. You can definitely see it. And Buggy, and the important thing is like the term ancient weapons, right? To even recognize that is like so niche to our viewpoint of the world. Most people don't know what these are, right? Like ancient weapons, Pluton, Poseidon, these aren't normal terms. So for him to even like get like, oh, an ancient weapon, Poseidon, blah blah blah, this person would love this. And it's like Buggy has that knowledge. He knows about the ancient weapons because he was on Roger's crew. And then on top of that, he's literally like, he's a weapons scientist, right? Like he has the buggy ball. He's been perfecting that to the point where, like, his main thing with the delivery service was weapons manufacturing, or not main thing, but that was like the second part of it. Because, like, day one was Buggy Ball, and then, you know, the Impel Down prison people came after Muggy. That was funny. So the Buggy Ball's great. So like it could very well be that Caribou is another person in this thing. I would have loved to see later on, had we seen like a reaction out of him seeing, you know, what we're about to see. Like Buggy's cross guild thing. There is one thing though that leads me towards Caribou being with Blackbeard though. And it is this very fascinating cover page. So in One Piece chapter 695, Caribou is on the cover page that says, "Leave it to me." You had the chapter prepared. I was ready. Chapter 695, it is Caribou, and he's holding a box of food that says meat on one side and pie on another side. So people have been bringing this up, saying the meat refers to Luffy and the pie refers to Blackbeard, because when we first saw Blackbeard, he was eating pie. But didn't he hate the pie? And then he hated the pie, and then after Luffy left, he switched and he said, man, this pie is delicious. Yes, that's true. And that is the only food we have really, you know, seen him be eating. So people are saying, like Caribou holding a box that says meat and pie. One of them is referring to Luffy because, you know, he's working with Luffy, he's helping him to an extent. But the other side, the side that is hidden from the front, is the pie. Because if you're facing Caribou straight up, you'd see the meat, and then from the side, you'd see the pie. I don't know. I think that's interesting. I think Blackbeard is somebody that we can't sleep on. Because like you said, we haven't seen him do anything yet. We haven't seen Blackbeard do anything to propel him to where Luffy is. He has no poneglyphs. He hasn't gone after any ancient weapons as of yet. He needs to do something to get himself tangled in with the current story. And we just don't know what that is yet. Like, he's literally just chilling on Hachinose Island for all we know. Yeah, and when I said, like, Caribou is a buggy genre character, there's
Yes, he
also that
is.
split thing where he is also a Blackbeard genre character too. He
Yeah.
would fit, like, if he joined their crew, like, their crew is so odd that he fits right in with
And
everybody.
one more thing I do want to make note of is in the very beginning of One Piece, we were also made note of how rare Logias are in the world of One Piece. There's not a
Mhm.
lot of them, and they're hard to come by. But somehow, a wacko like Caribou has one.
Yeah.
What if
The first
Blackbeard?
Logia of the time skip.
Yeah. What if Blackbeard, a devil fruit hunter, a guy that specializes in getting, these devil fruits, actually was the one who gave him the swamp fruit in the first place?
Yeah, and his fruit is also really functional for what Blackbeard, like, Blackbeard's like
Kidnapping,
a
yeah.
plunderer, like
Yeah.
Caribou's fruit is beautiful for that. It's interesting for sure. Maybe another clue is one of the things that I was kind of thinking about in the background. Maybe this is a clue to Caribou's background is on Fishman Island when he was fighting Peckham's and Baron Tamago, he just pulled out a Gatling gun. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think we've ever seen a Gatling gun.
What character uses guns in the series, man? It's freaking Blackbeard. That's how he destroyed Whitebeard, man. He whips out a gun.
Yeah, it is interesting because
you could even relate that to Buggy's delivery service too, though.
Yeah, like that's the important thing, right? Like Gatling gun is a very niche. I don't think we've ever seen like a prominent character in One Piece like pull out Gatling gun like that. And it was like a big Gatling gun, like a tank. Like so maybe that is a clue toward Buggy or Blackbeard, honestly.
Honestly, both camps get points on Caribou.
Yeah,
and that is who everybody's leaning towards.
The only person with the Gatling gun, now I think about it, would be Queen. I think when he was shooting the
Ice Oni,
that was a Gatling gun. So yeah, I mean, but obviously it's not related to Queen. But that's just an interesting.
Kaido's kind of done.
Yeah. So
yeah, after the Caribou portion, we have Momonosuke running around looking for Zoro. And I thought it was kind of cool because you actually see how, I wouldn't say sad Momonosuke looks, but how bored he looks of his everyday life, right? Like every panel, he's kind of like, whatever, Shogun, woo, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But when he opens the door, he's like, Zoro, like, please teach me swordsmanship. Like, he seems so happy to see Zoro, but he's not there. He's like me back when I was in high school when I got dumped by one of my girlfriends. Like, I just woke up and she wasn't there and she was gone. And it happens to everybody. And that is exactly what Momonosuke is feeling. And I feel that to a personal extent. Like, I'm still healing through that. But really, so he starts listing off all the Straw Hat members. And I think it's really fascinating the order he goes down. I mentioned this in my review video. But he starts with Luffy. He goes to Zoro, Sanji, Chopper, like Nami, Usopp. He essentially goes down the list of Straw Hats in a way in which they join the crew. And at the very end, he does mention Yamato. I'm not, Yamato is like beating a dead horse. Yeah. Everybody knows that there's a really good chance he's going to join. Yeah. And I think this really just adds fuel to the fire. Yeah.
Well, he wants her to go. And then,
he does.
We can talk more about it at the end when she comes up. But I do think, it's like 90%, like 9, if not more, that she's going to be there at this point, right?
Yeah.
But there is a plot twist, and we'll talk about at the end with when we see Yamato, because I do have some points about that. But I said the exact same thing as you in my live stream, where it's like this scene just hit me on a personal level, not from the same story, but like because when I was a kid one time, I got like, whether it was like my family or like me on my own, but like I was just like lost, and I just remember feeling so alone. But then I remember when I was a little bit older, I saw a kid get lost, and they were like calling out like to a bunch of people.
No.
And it just reminded me of how sad this kid was. And I was like, I was sitting there like, oh my God, like they already know Momo's staying. It's not like the Vivi situation where Vivi was just like, I'm going to join the crew, or I'm not going to join the crew. It's like this Momo was staying in the Shogun, and they could have said bye. You know what I mean? This kind of, I was like, yo, like that's a little upsetting. Like you didn't need to do this to our boy Momo. He's still technically 8. Like bro,
it's like waking up and your parents are gone. Yeah. It's like, what the hell? Like I understand Luffy not wanting to say goodbye because that's what he always does, right? Like he always tries to leave without people saying thank you.
Yeah.
and expressing their gratitude because he's a pirate.
Yeah.
But at the
yeah.
same time, it's like, come on, like you're gonna say goodbye to freaking Toko and Hiyori and everybody, but not freaking Momonosuke and Kinemon?
Yeah. So I
Like,
hope we get a
just do it,
scene.
man.
I hope
Whoa,
we get a scene.
will. No freaking way we will not get a scene. I'm expecting next chapter to be like double pages, you know, maybe even Oda goes out of the way and colors it himself. Like, like it's gotta be, maybe I think that is honestly gonna be the panel Oda was talking about that he's really looking forward to drawing. Because we haven't finished Wano yet. He said the final panel of Wano is going to be something he's been wanting to draw for a while. Yeah. So I feel like it's going to be a beautiful shot of Kinemon and Momonosuke saying their goodbye. Like, because you have to remember, his favorite panel, other than this, like one of his top 5, is the Straw Hat saying goodbye to Vivi with the arms up in the X.
Yeah,
so I feel like we're gonna get a really dope scene. Oh,
do you think we're gonna get the same thing where the Straw Hats have? I was thinking yesterday. I was like, what if they get the crescent moon?
Oh
instead?
Yeah, like the Kozuki thing.
Yeah,
oh, man.
Like something like that.
It's gonna be dope. It's gonna be freaking dope. I'm looking forward to it.
And it's like also out of pocket too, because they didn't just do this to Momo, they also did it to Kinemon too. And I was like, they told everybody else, they're like, hey, bye. Shh, don't tell him. Like, what?
Yeah. It's so nuts, man. I mean, a good nod, other than the Kozuki one, is if they got the Crest of Rebellion that they came up with for the raid.
Yeah.
I think that because it would also be a nod to Yasui.
Yeah. They put them on their ankles though, so imagine they all just put their ankles up,
like, hey, what is up? Like, that's funny. Oh man, yeah, heart breaks for Kinemon and the boy.
Yeah.
We switch over to Tokage, or is it Tokage? Yeah, Tokage Port. We have Kid, Luffy, Law, looking pretty dope. They're all hanging out like real pirates, and they're all debating where to go next. They all pick different locations, and I thought that the locations and the directions they're going is very important, and I feel like there are clues we can pick up from it. Yeah. But I got like, 2 brain cells. I was dropped as a kid, so I didn't really look too deep into it. I was waiting for I was looking for your perspective. And you mentioned Vera. You mentioned a couple of other islands too. You want to talk about those?
Yeah, so someone on my stream brought up Vera. And at first I was like, I thought Vera was in
Paradise.
The first half. Yes. And then I was thinking like, maybe it could be here because when we learn about Vera in the panel that Oda put in the Road to Laugh-Tale, it's in chapter 228. In the log, Nolan says we're sailing from Vera and we're gonna go northeast, and that would put you on those other islands. And I was like, that's a very interesting time drop for Oda to do that. One thing he just said, like, there's 3 next islands, right?
Yep.
Hachinosu, Elbaf, and Vera. And what's interesting about that is we don't have a great confirmation of what the One Piece world looks like in terms of maps. We have that like sort of fan-made ones, but there was a magazine that put out a map, and magazine, I say sort of because magazines are like 4th tier source
editor.
It's not even from the studio. It's like I think Artur said the magazines are handled by a third-party company.
They probably like message Oda and emailed, and then they're like, all right, cool, I got the map.
Apparently they don't have direct access to Oda. They just talk to the editors.
Nobody really does.
Only the editors do, sort of, but like if you're not even in the building with the editors, like it's kind of like you barely have.
Oda's more guarded than like the president at this point.
I mean, I would start a GoFundMe if he didn't. We had community wide. We'd have to. I actually off stream, I'll tell you some details about the spoiler stuff. It's honestly presidential level stuff. I'll tell you after though. But so going back to these island things, when we look at that map, the 3 islands are, I think they are Hachinosu and Elbaf, and we don't know the name of the last one. I don't think so. The translations are weird. I have to double check. So it might actually be Vera, Pirate Island, and Elbaf as the other ones, which would mean that Law chose Elbaf, and Kid chose Pirate Island, and then Luffy would have chose that 3rd island, which might be Vera. And that kind of also implies that it wouldn't make sense for them to go backwards. So the Straw Hats are probably going to hit all 3 islands, maybe like in rapid succession. And it might be that Hachinosu Maybe Hachinosu's on the way to Elbaf. I don't know. It's interesting though, because
There's a lot of ways this could go, but
all,
all
all
three of those
three have,
islands, they're important.
yeah, they have huge ties to it, right? We just like Revolutionaries took over one, Blackbeard's on another, and then Elbaf is Elbaf, right? And that's
Yeah.
you know, could be Shanks. So yeah, and you know, I didn't realize how close Elbaf was to Wano. I mean, we don't, even with the map, we don't know if that is Elbaf and if it's that close and if it's that size, because that doesn't make sense. Because I would imagine if Wano is the size of like 2 Australias, then Elbaf is probably the size of like our planet. Like,
because they're giants. Like, how are they gonna like run around and do things? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's got to be big.
Yeah, like the largest animals on Wano are like pets for Elbaf, right? Like,
not even like right? Newborn pets. Yeah.
Yeah, except for, you know, Mountain God. But that's a god. That's separate. Mountain God might be like, you know, like their horse kind of thing.
I mean, yeah, I feel like at this point, I think it'd be really cool if the story split itself in a way where we saw every captain's perspective on what happens at each island. Like the most ideal situation would be what you said, where Luffy hits all 3 in rapid succession. That would be the most ideal thing. So we can get a little bit of everything. We got Luffy and Dragon, Luffy and Prince Loki, Luffy and Blackbeard, and etc. But it would also be nice if we got like, oh, Luffy goes to Vera per se, Kid goes to Hachinose, and we see him and Blackbeard. Like, we'd get so many interesting interactions if we exclude the Straw Hats to an extent. But because the whole story is based around Luffy and the crew and going on adventures, I feel like it's more leaning towards your idea of Luffy is going to tackle all of these islands.
Yeah. And one way to think about it too is like, if let's say in this idea that it is Vera, or maybe it doesn't even need to be Vera. It could be another revolutionary, like liberated island. That's a good option. The reason why I say that's a good option, because then the progress, the sequence of events would be learning about what happened at Reverie through the revolutionaries, or understanding what happened to Sabo and Vivi, that kind of thing. And then the next part would be, oh, Blackbeard took advantage of something as a result of this news. So the next island being Pirate Island, they would be like, okay, we need to go not take care of or deal with what Blackbeard did. Maybe Blackbeard took something important. Maybe it's related to Vivi, right? If you went to Arabasta and they meet up with Vivi on the next island, or learn something that Vivi is important to Vivi, then going to Blackbeard's would be next. Not saying that that's like the main contention point in their battle, but then the next progress would be going to Shanks on Elbaf if he's there, or just dealing with the thing. And then Elbaf would be quote unquote transitioning into like the full-fledged like last saga type of thing, similar to how, like, you know, not that Dressrosa was like a transition arc, but it was like Punk Hazard, Dressrosa, Zoe,
stepping stones.
And in a lot of ways, maybe that's the same thing, where it's like Punk Hazard is the next island, Dressrosa would be, you know, Pirate Island, Blackbeard, and that would kind of fit with how the island's set up too, with like the leader, the ruler, and then the last place being Elbaf. Elbaf is supposed to be like the isolated thing, similar to Zoe. So maybe that is an arc parallel there.
What's really funny is that I think Oda is straight capping when he says the story's ending in 3 years. Like, I don't know, man. Like, unless everything we see from here on out is like a singular chapter, like I can't imagine One Piece ending in 3 years. That is such. I mean, he said it himself, right? Like, I'm not trying to throw shade, but even he said, "Hey, my predictions are really bad." he said all my predictions are bad, guys. Like, you know, take this with a grain of salt, but ideally he wants to end in 3 years. Realistically, I'm honestly looking at 5. Like, there's no way.
It's funny because
Hard
you know,
pressed.
a lot of people say I have like Oda wavelength, and that's, you know, a lot of people, I recently actually with my Godfather Shanks video, a lot of people are saying like you give a lot of pre-time skip like vibes like with One Piece, like it's so exciting to hear. And I'm like, wow, it's crazy like how many people are like not jaded, but like, you know, at a certain point, if you're reading the story for a long time, it's hard to get like a fresh feeling. That's with anything, right? And one of the funniest memes is that when I put on my videos, like this Godfather Shanks video, I had it in my head for the longest time, and I told someone about it 8 months ago, and I was telling people like, oh, I'll get it out, and I was like, you know, maybe I'll get it out like next month. And 8 months later the video is out, and you know, like everyone's happy.
Oda.
everyone's happy, but that's essentially what Oda's like, I'll get it out next month. I'll get it out in 3 years. Realistically, that triple that time, 9 years. There we go.
Yeah.
That's the
Oh my.
realistic.
9 years would be perfect, but I don't know, man. There's just so much we have to cover. Like, it feels like we're just so far from the end goal to even call this the final saga. Which I'm not gonna doubt it. I mean, he knows like the progression of arcs, but dang, this is gonna be a long saga.
Which is why right now, like I always say, my favorite theories now, and my theories go in this way, where it's like, I like the theories that connect all the loose ends together. So that's like a concept with my Godfather Shanks video, my Amatsuki clan video, like all these different things. Like if we're thinking about the story ending soon, then we have to merge these plot lines, and we have to think about how they can merge. And it's not a bad thing for them to merge. That's like, if we're wrapping up the story, that's what's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
Like, so if Oda's left things unattended to, that implies that they might be related.
And speaking of Oda tying things on, it goes really well with the next page here, because Luffy, Kid, and Usopp, they're all bantering, and then Luffy brings up the fact that he's an emperor. Kid, somewhat accepts it. He's like, yeah, whatever. The one emperor I can't accept is Buggy, the bombastic clown, genius jester, whichever translation you're reading. And we get the revelation of Cross Guild with Sir Crocodile and Dracula Mihawk as part of his organization, or at least looking like his subordinates. And it's like what you said, Oda needs to bring all these loose ends together. He has to tie them in. And, Mihawk and Crocodile, they were loose cannons. Mihawk was somebody that Zoro always had to fight, or needed to fight, for the end of the story. Yeah. But when would we get there? We're not really going to go backwards to Mihawk's hometown or where he lives. So something has to propel Mihawk further down the story so that we can meet him near the end, near the One Piece. And what better way to bring Mihawk here than having him be a part of Buggy's alliance? And same with Crocodile too. I think this is an ingenious move, honestly.
When this dropped, my jaw dropped.
I saw it. I was there for it. I was there for the drop.
There's my jaws dropped so many times in the recent chapters, but this one hit different. This one hit so different because, like you said, my line of thinking is having the plot points connect, right? Yes. But even I didn't think it was gonna connect like this. Morge put out a video saying that Mihawk was gonna be bending the knee. That's in the thumbnail. Bending the knee to Buggy.
I saw that.
And like on the surface, it's like, nah. That was truthfully my reaction. And then when I saw this, I was like, all right, someone predicted Mihawk, however absurd that was. But Crocodile too? Like, so that was crazy.
Since you're not a part of the spoiler community, back when Buggy was, hinted to being the fourth emperor, a lot of people were already speculating on Twitter, especially the Japanese and Arabic side of Twitter, were like, hey, Buggy enlisted Mihawk, Crocodile, Weevil, Boa Hancock, and etc. And that has been a theory for a while, actually.
Whoa.
And yeah, even like it predates the Morge video. And it's like, dude, like that is like, people have been guessing this like before it was confirmed that Buggy was an emperor. Wow. And like, because if there was like somebody to do it, it would be Buggy. Like he always surrounds himself with strong people for no reason. Like he doesn't have any business to, but he does.
So there are spoiler theorists. This is incredible.
There are, yeah. The minute spoilers drop, people start theorizing. And the Buggy uniting all the warlords has been one for a hot minute. And I was always a fan of it, but in the early spoiler days of Buggy, if you were to say, hey, Buggy's going to be the next Yonko, you would get flamed. Like, people who did not believe in spoilers and leaks and all that stuff, they couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I got
like, I made a video, like, before, the spoilers were all confirmed, like, hey, like, Buggy might be the next emperor. I didn't say it was in the leaks, but I was like, hey, like, there's a chance that Buggy might be the emperor. Like, everything's kind of, like, leaning towards it. I'm not trying to spoil anybody. But I got a lot of hate on that video. They're like, yo, like, Buggy's never going to be one. This ruins the system. But I'm like, yo, like, Buggy is a menace. Like, he has the money. He has the influence. And if he does recruit these high-tier members like Crocodile and Mihawk, then it's like, yo, like, he is an emperor. He is strong.
I think the one, I like the way this scene started out because Luffy's flexing the emperor status already. That was just funny. Like, way to put salt in the wound for Kid.
Yep.
Another really cool thing was that Mihawk had a scar. Did you notice that?
Yes. Okay. So people were pointing this out. Mihawk has a scar. I don't know if that's shading or if he does actually have one. What is your take on it? I am leaning towards shading, but I am down if it is a scar.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him shirtless essentially,
Yeah,
because like he's had
95% of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and so
It's my phone wallpaper.
and like, you know, for is it really?
No, it's my wife.
I was about to say, I was like, I'm pretty sure you told me what it is, but if it was, you'd have to show it on camera.
No, it's not.
But so like for Oda to include that minuscule detail, given that he's shown us him shirtless, I think that is real. That is a scar.
Dude,
now,
that'd be nuts.
Who did it? I guess we have to look through I think what happens on the next page, if you just want to narrate that part to include this in this section, because I think this part is one of my favorite things in like all of One Piece.
Yes. Kid says, whatever it was, it seems this cross guild of his is issuing bounties on Marines. This is amazing because now those Navy dogs have to watch their backs too. The hunters have become the hunted, and then we see some really bad wanted posters, but it's so freaking cool, and I think it goes to the name of Cross Guild as well, because when you think of a guild, you know, in action RPG and anime fantasy standards, a guild is a place you go to pick up bounties, to pick up job requests. So Buggy is like the quest giver. Like, you're playing Destiny 2 and you're siding with Buggy. Like, he is giving you these missions to hunt down Marines. And that's why I don't think that Dracula, Mihawk, and Crocodile are like pampering to Buggy. They're not calling him the next Pirate King. I think they're simply just turning in the most bounties. These guys are making a fat profit out of Buggy. They are, taking down vice admirals left and right, and they're handing him over. And that is why they are listed right beside him. They're not under Buggy's wing. They're simply abusing Buggy's system of hunting Marines down.
Right. And okay, so interpretation of how it is, whether they're allianced, right, or they're Yonko commanders, or they're guild members, right? I think this is this reverse Uno from Buggy.
It's so dope.
Probably one of the most badass actions in like all of one, to be like bounty on me. Nah, fuck that. I'm putting bounty on you. And
dude,
like
oh my god, I love it.
It played in my head like this was like Hyruden, right? The giants, they were S tier, but like in the grand scheme of things, they're not that
they're
strong.
not S tier.
If they were if they did S tier missions, like they had a wall of like F tier, C tier, all that, and S tier, and Hyrden did the S tier ones, then that makes sense. And then what's even cooler is when we go back to Caribou, maybe one of the missions where go check out Straw Hat Luffy on Sabaody,
take
like
him
the
down.
fake one, and that was the mission that Caribou took.
Yep.
And that and that's what set Caribou in this like line of direction that he's in. But and then like I want to think that these bounties, first of all, like I rail like these bounties were like high school.
You were goofing
club,
on them.
Like,
you were goofing on. You called them wish wanted posters. I remember that. I was there for that. I was there for the Buggy poster slander. See, I'm on the opposite end. I think it looks dope.
I mean,
maybe I'm like sucking up to Buggy a little bit too hard, but I don't think they look horrible. They set themselves apart from the Marine post or from the pirate posters.
You don't know your reward. You don't know if you're supposed to catch them dead or alive.
It's a star system. Buggy has a star system just like Doflamingo. So that's all that matters.
What's important here is either they misspelled Spandam or there's another character. Did you look at the actual words on the?
Yeah, I don't think it's Spandam. It looks like chicken scratch in my opinion, but it doesn't look like Spandam. It kind of looks like John Bart in a way, but
it does. But like the wording, I was like, oh, maybe that is Spandam. And Spandam could make sense because the crown, like whoever gets because that the other ones have stars, but this one has a crown, which would imply that this is the most important one. And so unless we're introducing a spadum or random character that we have not met that is that important in the Marines, because you would imagine a crown would be reserved for like an admiral,
Yeah, like a top tier person.
Or if it's Spandom, then yeah, CP0 member, that's an important one.
Hunting down the CP0 members, that'd be crazy.
Yo, Buggy
like celestial dragons.
Buggy became one of the coolest characters through this. He's setting out bounties
always been
for these.
So cool.
Like everyone's hated Spandom and some of these like things, and now we can let loose. Like, you know, if someone collects that bounty, that they're the heroes, right? Like even though they're on Buggy's side, they're a hero. Like,
this is why I think Mihawk is like abusing this system, because right when the Shishibukai system was demolished, Mihawk was like, you know, chilling on his raft, and he was like, oh, like this is, I haven't felt this thrill in so long. Like, oh, dude, the dog is out. He's hunting. Like they released him.
I was
now
laughing.
that he has a reward system too.
I was laughing on stream because like if these aren't important Marines, they're probably Marines that were sent after the warlords. So it's like funny because like these dudes took like the biggest L's in history because they were like, first of all, getting like, imagine these are like new like recruits, and then their first mission's like, we're dispatching everyone to the warlords, and then they're like, what?
Go kill Mihawk.
and then you're like, all right, can I go back to training? Can I go back to the academy, please? And then you go there, you live, and Mihawk escapes. You're like, all right, I didn't die, cool. You go back home to your wife and kids and family, and they're just like, honey, we have to move. Like the Yonko put a bounty on you, and then they're just like, like,
and then you see your neighbors like looking at you, like wanting to poison you and all that good stuff. Like Kid said it himself, like civilians are gonna start pulling on these bounties too.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
You can't sleep well at night. It's not looking too good for the ops of One Piece.
The ultimate reverse Uno. 100%.
It's funny because I don't know if you've played like old school Japanese RPGs, but a big narrative theme in a lot of them is when you're in the end game of the series, or like, you know, the finale of the games, the world usually turns upside down, right? Like the environments change forever. Like crazy events start happening. This is very reminiscent of that. Like to give you an example, like in one game, I think like half the world gets freaking destroyed and into darkness. Like it's the exact opposite of what is introduced in the beginning of the series. And it kind of feels like that is what is happening right now. Like everything has just been flipped upside down in the world of One Piece. Marines have bounties, pirates are going after them. Like it's so crazy. Like we are in the end.
When, you know, the prophecy of turning the world upside down, Buggy is doing it. Buggy is doing that, you know? Like Roger wanted to turn the world upside down. This is one way to do that.
This is Roger's ultimate dream.
Yeah, honestly.
He was waiting for Buggy to be born. That's why he got to the One Piece too soon.
Shanks and Buggy are spearheading the agenda, you know? Yeah. This is that's factual at this point. And like, I think just going back, like maybe one of these Marines were the ones who gave Mihawk that scar. Maybe, or unless, like, I can't imagine anybody giving Mihawk a scar and
it's
then
hard,
living to tell the tale, right?
Like a scar like that.
Yeah, like, because then Zoro has to fight that person first.
That's what I said. Yeah, like Zoro has a new opponent, but like before he fights Mihawk. Yeah. You know, assuming Mihawk won the fight, I'm sure he did. But imagine if it was Buggy though. Like that is.
Buggy gave him the scar?
Yeah, I said what if? Like what if it was Buggy though, and that's why Mihawk is working for him. Buggy made Mihawk his pig.
I mean, technically, insane. Mihawk can't do much to Buggy, right?
Yeah, like, Buggy just. I mean, the chop fist hits pretty hard, you know?
Yeah. I mean, they fought one time. Maybe he gained respect, and then they were like, "All right, one." Oh, that is a thing in. Now I think about it, that is a tradition in Buggy's crew to 1v1 for the higher title. So Moji.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Moji and Kabaji were dueling.
Oh, stop.
Yeah, wait, actually? Dude, hold on.
Yeah, Kabaji gave it to him. Kabaji
like, you
gave
have
a
to
scar
fight
to
your
Mihawk.
Way up. Wait,
no
hold
freaking way. That's crazy.
Imagine if Mihawk had to run the gauntlet and it ended with Buggy, and Buggy slashed him, and then he was just like, wait a second. Wait a second. I haven't been touched in so many years, and he just gets all
And
tingled and stimulated from me.
the crazy thing with Buggy though, like I thought about it the other day, like if Mihawk legitimately did want to hurt Buggy, he would have to use that big AoE attack that he used against Jozu, or he would have to use like Rio, Conqueror's coding. Like Buggy's Chop Chop activates without his own knowledge.
Yeah, from
Like
my
people like
understanding.
it's not like observation hockey, right? Because when he was pulled down by Luffy, Buggy wasn't ready to be chopped up.
Yeah.
Mihawk just started slicing him, and then he put himself back together, and he's like, "What were you doing?"
Yeah.
So
And
his chop is innate.
and it's like I'd say it's more confirmed. I said this in my Buggy video. In chapter 0, Shanks essentially said that Buggy can't be killed he can't die from being stabbed. He can't be killed. He can't be. It doesn't matter how many times you slash him, he'll be fine. That's, I think, the exact line or something. And so, if Oda's putting that in chapter 0, like, I think, and that was prefacing the Marineford work, because chapter 0 was Strong World, and so that's right before Marineford. So I'm sure that is the case, that Buggy just, like, what are we gonna say? He had observation hockey when he was a child? Nah, he didn't have that.
No.
So
And
I think
he's not fast enough to like definitely counter the way Mihawk could have been Marineford. Like he got chopped into little pieces.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it is just a passive thing, and so
yeah.
Yo, running the gauntlet though is wild.
Oh,
that would be crazy.
It is crazy. Well, what an insane way to put it. That's why I love Buggy, right? Because a lot of things in One Piece we can kind of see coming. Buggy is the wild card. And I'm expecting him to have like some crazy, I mean, I don't think he's strong, right? I'm pretty sure Buggy's still really weak. But
Unless
I am looking forward, unless he has hockey. I'm looking forward to his next iteration of his Muggy Ball. Like now that he's a Yonko, does it go up a level? Will he have like a Yuggy Ball, a Sucky Ball? Like what's gonna happen?
Yeah, I was actually trying to figure out what the next iteration of it would be, and I was staring at the keyboard on stream, and I was like, "There's not really great options." It's like and then the one I landed on was Puggy, and that that alludes to the live, not live action, the theatrical One Piece. Oda designed. I don't know if you knew this or I told you, the Buggy's Yonko commander is Puggy in the thing, and he's described to be, he can take on Zoro and Sanji.
Oh my, wait, what?
Yeah, that's in the live theatrical. And this is, by the way, these are characters that Oda designed. He designed all of the characters, so you can look him up. He's on the wiki. He's so cool. I wish he were canon, because outside of Mihawk being here, I was like, yo, what if Oda actually drops Puggy in the thing? Because that would explain this power, right? Like an Yonko commander that's described to be as strong and able to take on Zoro and Sanji. That's insane.
No, yeah. Oh, Puggy sounds so cool.
Yeah, he's so
and
cool.
He was designed by Oda.
Yeah,
to rival Sanji and Zoro at once. What the heck?
It's so cool. And then there's another character that is now they think about it, plays really well. There's I forgot, Chameleon. Chameleon is one of the coolest design characters, even including canon characters. He's essentially, Oda gave him the copy fruit, which obviously won't be canon, but he can copy any devil fruit power. And he was a character that was essentially just like a lone wolf that was collecting bounties, and he tried to collect a Whitebeard's bounty, and he was like really, really strong. And
how do you spell? Oh, I see it. Chameleon.
Yeah. And so if you look at that character design, it's so cool. And I'm like, yo, Oda's out here making movies, making the manga, dealing with Toei screwing up with the anime, and then
these cool things out here.
The live theatrics is so cool. Yeah, it's a fun rabbit hole to go do. And so Puggy is like, maybe he gets Puggy balls. I don't know. Because we already got Buggy Balls, right? Buggy Balls is the first one, Muggy. And then, it would have been cool if the last one was Buggy, but it's not going to go that. Unless he does like Buggy 2.0,
Yeah, Buggy 2.0.
Or he mixes Yonko and Buggy,
edition.
And he makes it Bonko, the Bonko Balls.
Bonko. Hey, that's not bad. Bonko Balls is kind of cool.
Yeah. He's getting
so,
bonked.
After the Buggy segment, Law ends up just straight up throwing down the Poneglyphs for Kid. Just totally giving it to him like, hey, it doesn't matter. And I think it's fine, because at the end of the day, Like, I'm
Nah,
not
fuck
saying,
that shit.
like whoever gets the One Piece, they get it because they're the best pirate. Like, just because you give somebody that advantage doesn't mean Luffy's gonna lose it all of a sudden. Like, it's kind of like a nice act to do for a friend, but in reality, it doesn't really mean anything, right? Like, Luffy's still gonna get to the One Piece before Kid and Law, 99% chance.
Kid should
And
have
plus,
gave Big Mom's poneglyphs to Law then.
he should have. I mean, Law is with Luffy, so there's a chance that, like, Luffy might have just given it to him in happenstance, like, hey, like, by the way, here's Big
he's
Mom's
talking to
Poneglyph.
Robin.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Robin. Ooh.
Technically, he can, if he knew that it's inside Brook's skull, he could just kind of take it out, like if he really wanted.
Nobody would even notice.
Yeah, honestly, whoa. Wow. Imagine that's the plot twist, that we find out that that's why we didn't read the poneglyphs, because Brook opens his skull and he's just like, he pulls out a rock and he's like, wait a sec. Or it's like a no IOU from Law.
Yeah.
like
see you at the next island, loser.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So,
that would be crazy.
A lot of people brought up this point that there's a good chance, I mean, I guess there's a solid chance that nobody in Kid's crew or even Law's crew can read the poneglyphs. So the road poneglyphs kind of mean nothing to them. What is your take on that?
I actually didn't get to address it. Someone was asking me, but there's a long-standing theory that Killer is three-eyed tribe, which is a very interesting take. We have never seen his forehead. It's always been covered, always has a mask on.
Yep.
And you know, when we see people wearing like King had to hide his identity too, and the three-eyed tribe is another sought after race from our understanding. So it makes sense for him to wear this. It was wrapped when he didn't have it. And then as a kid, when Oda drew him as a kid, he had the hair covering his forehead too. And he's the one who's holding the thing. And first he holds the folded one, and then it looks like it's unwrapped. And so maybe Killer can read the poneglyphs.
He's just feigning it.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, it's important because even when he removed the mask, he had the bandages on his forehead when he was Kamizo the Manslayer.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would Oda have covered his head? Like, I mean, sure, he might have been damaged, but, you know, own up. Like, he's a pirate. Like, why would he cover it up? It almost seems like those bandages were always there, potentially. Like, a wrapping over his eye has always been there.
Yeah, and I think it's one caveat to this idea, though, is I would imagine... Oh, no, in this panel, I missed it. He did unwrap the rubbings. I missed it on the next one.
Yeah, he
but
brings it out.
The one thing about it, though, is it's kind of weird to me because what it sounded like was the three-eyed tribe has automatic, like, voice of all things when they awaken or whatever, right? That was kind of the understanding. But so I feel like that would work if you were with the actual poneglyph, not like a copy of it. Like, how does the voice of all things transfer over if you just photocopy the poneglyph, you know?
So I think it's a little bit of both. I think they could, like, you know, voice transfer Mayan Jutsu with the poneglyph if they're nearby it. But as far as the rubbing goes, like, I feel like the third eye might be able to decipher the true meaning of things. Like, maybe it's like Google language. Translate, you know? Like, you just flip up your phone, you put it up to the to whatever you want to translate.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, it means that laugh tail is over to the left.
I like that idea, actually. You know, like, the three-eyed, you know, the whole connotation of that is to have, like, insight that other people won't have, right? To be super, super insightful. So to be able to read all the languages like that, yeah, I could see it. It wouldn't be... I think it'd be a really cool... Because, you know, Law has demonstrated his lack of interest in the poneglyphs in the first place, but that changed when on Onigashimi is like, I now care about the Will of D. You see him talking to Law about all of that, or not Law, Robin about all of that. So we get an understanding that Law didn't have access, but that's also because he didn't care. Whereas Kid is, now we know he is going for the poneglyphs, and the One Piece, and so they don't have a Robin, they don't have a Odin, but so then how are they doing it? Are they just running through voice of all things? And so if they have natural voice of all things, which Kid might have, maybe because he's, you know, conquers, he's being equated to like Luffy and chasing the One Piece dream, so then maybe Killer is their, like, you know, their Odin, their Robin. And how is it that case? It's through that three-eyed tribe, right? It would make less sense for there to be like, it doesn't make sense for a Killer to just be a Hidden Ohara person, or to be a Kozuki thing, like, so then the last option is like a three-eyed tribe. So I like that idea.
We just got to go with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it is. You brought it up, but I think it is really cool that Law has transitioned to wanting to go for the One Piece. Because beforehand, his whole character was Doflamingo, but
Yeah.
Doflamingo ultimately was low-key a stepping stone to get to Kaido.
Yeah.
And then now that Kaido's gone, it's like, what was Law gonna do?
Yeah.
So now that he joined in the race to the One Piece, it's like, oh, okay, like this is what his goal is.
Which-
but now it's like, how is Law gonna get there? But I mean, he's been talking to Robin a lot, so people are saying maybe this was the whole goal. He's just using Robin as a honeypot, you know? He's just out there for her poneglyph skills.
Yeah, it's interesting that he wants to go separate ways, though he's reliant on her to a certain extent. So it's interesting. Maybe he, understands something, or maybe he plans to reconnect or something. I don't know. Maybe he has a Den Mushi. Maybe he just like, hey, Robin, like booty call, like, that
oh my god, hey, what does this mean?
yeah, like a study date. That's what I called it before when they were going down. It's like a library date essentially. But with I forgot what I was gonna say now with Law. Damn, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Oh, you're good, bro.
What were we saying before the kid thing?
Before the kid thing.
Yeah, or the last thing we were talking about.
Before Law and Kid, we were talking about the poneglyph. Killer had the 3 eyes. Shit, you caught me off guard too.
Oh no, I remember now. The change in ambition with Law.
Yeah.
I think like low key that might be grounds to start, like he might develop Conquerors now, because he has this ambition now that is like the will of D is a grander ambition than on the scale of the one pirate king and all that stuff, right? So but prior to this, Law he was following a directive more so than a dream or aspiration. And that's why a lot of people thought he was Sword, right? It was more so like, I'm following this mission to take down this empire. And that's not what Luffy was doing, right? That's not what Kid was doing. But now he's doing what Law and Kid are doing. Not Luffy and Kid are doing. So maybe if he ends up getting Conquerors later on, this is the grounds for it, because he's chasing.
He's setting out.
One of the big dreams.
I like that. That's a really good answer. Now on to the last page here. We go back to the Flower Capital. Momonosuke and Kinemon, for some reason, are still in the castle. They haven't left yet. And then they yell out for Yamato. And that is when Yamato says, I've made up my mind. I'm going to head over to Luffy and the gang. It's finally time for me to live like Odin did. And then the final notes on the side say heroic and free. Like she's like, this isn't even like I was about to say Naruto. This isn't like Momonosuke or anybody else saying that Yamato is free from Wano. It's actually the editor coming in and saying, hey, Yamato is heroic and she is also free. Like she is free from Wano. What do you think about this? Confirmation that she's joining the crew? Or are there any like doubts you still might have?
Honestly, prior to this page, I didn't have doubts. This page actually gave me a little bit more doubts. Because she said, I've made up my mind. Prior to this, it was like I didn't know that she needed to make up her mind. I thought like more so in character, in verse, she's always wanted to leave. But I have always been under the assumption that like maybe, especially after last chapter, maybe she sees that Momo needs more help in defending Wano and she decides to stay, right? Because like from her perspective, right, like that was one threat, and we talked about it earlier. There's going to be more threats than just Green Bull if we're being realistic. And if anything, and I said this in my last analysis, was like this might be grounds that Wano will get like Buster called, like not Buster called like fodder Buster called, but like Admiral level Buster called, because like if Ryokugyu went there and got deterred, and they now know that there's another dragon defending it, that has the same powers as Kaido, they're gonna put respect on that, and they might overestimate Wano and just completely steamroll them in the next.
They could, but I'm gonna counter that with Akainu and the Goda say they always mention that bad things are happening around the world. Akainu even mentioned that they don't really have the time to waste on Wano right now. So if Ryokugyu comes back and he says, hey, I need like more men, I need other admirals to come here with me, do they really have the people to spare for that though? In reality, like will Akainu, Kizaru, like will they drop what they're doing? Will they stop trying to protect the Marines from Buggy and Dragon and etc. And it's like, all right, let's go attack Wano, a country that is not really doing anything, right?
Yeah.
The Gorosei would want it, but after they learned that Wano is, they still have closed borders, the Gorosei said, well, they have a smart leader. Like, we can't do anything because the borders are closed.
True.
So the Gorosei aren't doing anything about Wano. The admirals probably are not going to do anything about Wano. I don't think they have any more outside threats. And not to mention, Yamato did say, yeah, I've made up my mind, but she is seen in the next panel smiling.
Yeah.
She like she is happy with her decision. She has like kind of no regrets. And her sitting up on that rooftop, I think she really just wanted to say her goodbye to Wano Kuni. This is the last look she'll have at it before she leaves for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what Sanji did when he bowed his head to Zeph. Like, he just wanted to take one good last look at them before they leave. And I think that's kind of what we're getting here for Yamato as well. And not to mention is that even like you said, the Ryokugyu fight, when it was shown that there are threats that will come to Wano, Yamato's reaction to Momonosuke, quote unquote, beating him was she was jumping for joy. She was really happy. She was proud of Momonosuke for being able to defend it. Yeah. And there should be something to put peace in her mind too, because Inuarashi and Nekomamushi have decided to stay here and to be with Momonosuke as well. Like, there's like Wano is very well guarded at this point. I don't think they would really benefit from having Yamato here like anymore. It kind of negates, it kind of negates like One Piece as a whole, because like a lot of characters end up being free. They end up living their dream, and they're usually liberated after Luffy comes in and does something. So I feel like Yamato needs to live out that dream since she's been held back for 20 plus years.
I think the other thing about this was it seems like Momo and Yamato are probably going to hit the coast where they're leaving. Oh, yeah. And if Yamato does join, it's probably not going to be like a straightforward, like, hey, jump on the ship. It might be the same parallel as Odin or something different. It might be something like Luffy says, like, because it less so that like, her defending the Wano thing, I think. And again, you brought up a good point with Sanji. Sanji wasn't. The hesitancy was like obviously sensed as a front of like when he was joining, like, I can't do it, but then like everybody who knew him knew he was just like lying, right? But here it's like this hesitancy of like, yeah, I've made up my mind, it's finally time for me to live like Odin did. And so it might be a situation where Luffy's just like I want Yamato to join the crew, like if she says that, like, as her, like when Usopp was like rejoining the crew, it was like they had a contention on how they would allow him to come back. He had to say the right thing, and that might be the same situation here where like Yamato has to say this right exact words or what they want. Maybe they say like, we'll only accept her if she says like, Yamato or something, or like I as Yamato.
I could see that. I could see it going either way. Like you said, it could even be a parallel to what happened to Odin, where they get turned down initially, but after a course of a couple of days, like Luffy will say yes. Like I feel like at this point it's kind of sold. It's really just how is she gonna join? Like you said, like what is the context? How is she gonna word it? Like, can I join as Odin? Can I join as Yamato? There's a lot of things with that.
The Odin situation wouldn't happen because she's a devil fruit user, but like, she could freeze the water and run on it.
Yeah, but to be fair, though, is Luffy the type of man to, like, drag somebody off the side of the ship?
That's not going to be a real thing. His entire crew off of Zunisha, remember?
Yeah, but he knew they would be safe. Like, why would he do this to Yamato? Like, he's not throwing Chopper as bait.
He didn't know that they were going to be safe on the knockup stream. He was just like, YOLO.
Yeah, that's true. But, I don't know.
No, I get what you mean.
I feel like that'd be a bad one. I've seen people say that, like, oh, like, Yamato can't hold on to the chains. And it's like, bruh, does Luffy even have chains on the ship like that? Like, I don't know.
He has the claws, like, from Sunny's, like...
Oh, the Sunny claws, yeah. Okay, there we go.
But there's actually two things I want to bring up before we close out on the chapter thing. So, one, we skipped over the Scar, the marked man and the fire thing.
Yes, so, like, yes. Oh man, that's a big one. How did we miss out on that?
That's a rabbit hole that even yesterday I was like, I don't think we can finish, because like the way I see that part is it's similar to to the silhouettes on the cover stories with the whole cake island.
Yeah.
Everyone, like, it was, for me, narratively, it made the most sense. It's a Germa story. Like, it made the Vince Smokes, it's gonna be Germa. And then, but because of Oda's style and making us guess and leaving us on a break week to do it, it felt like, you know, the world, like the whole community was like, Mr. One, Crocodile, Peckham's,
Blackbeard.
Pedro is alive, Blackbeard, all these options. And some of them were great theories, right? And I feel like that's very much the same thing here, where, you know, last chapter we got Sabo as the Flame Emperor. Sabo has a scar shaped in fire. But the one knock is they're talking about him in the context of the One Piece, and we don't know Sabo to be referenced in that way. So it's a little interesting, and I think that is the key thing that opens my doors to other possibilities outside of Sabo.
So I actually like, so there's two main ones that I go to, or three, I guess. Sabo being a big one, and the reason why I could justify Sabo goes back to Vera. Because since the road Poneglyph, if it is back in paradise and it's not here, then, you know, Vera is a country that's plagued by revolutions, coup d'etats, and etc. The revolutionaries might know something about it. They might know or have a rubbing of the road Poneglyph. So that could justify Sabo.
Yeah,
Another
but
man
is
that
he
is
known in that way? The thing is, like, it's like, how do you, like, they're like, you don't know, like, it's like, for whatever this is, it has to be like sort of common knowledge that just like Luffy, like, and even
Sabo
Robin
knows
kind of doesn't know, because like Robin also had a question mark too. So like there's these context details that honestly this time might be different, where it isn't the vanilla answer. Like, I don't know,
it's not Sabo.
Like you said you had another option too outside of this.
I had a couple, but yeah, going back on the Sabo one, kind of nailing that on your side too, is that a man marked by flames, why would you go for Sabo? Why not drag it? Like, he would know probably more than Sabo at that point too.
Yeah.
Like say a man named after a mythical animal at that point.
Yeah. And the thing is, everyone should know that Luffy's related to Dragon at this point, because it's announced to the world. So there's so many options. Like, Dragon's one of the options. There's a few meme options too, but like someone brought up Douglas Bullet. This might be because Douglas Bullet has a giant.
I saw that comment. Yep.
Yeah.
So like the guy who commented that on your live stream comments that in my videos too. Like, hey, it's Douglas Bullet. And I want to say, I am open to it being Douglas Bullet. If Kid finds him and beats him, that would be really cool, since Luffy did that in the movie.
Yeah.
But the thing with Bullet though is he's too strong, but also he's a character that hasn't been made canon in any way. Uta has, and same with Shiki. Bullet has had the same amount of time to be, you know, notified as canon, but he's never once referenced in the story. Not even in like Oda's Road to Laugh Tale was Bullet even mentioned. So that's why it's hard to say Bullet is canon and he exists in the story. I think that's the hard part for me.
Yeah, and then I ended up making a spreadsheet of all the like possible options. Not saying they're all the greatest options, but like I think in terms of me, the second tier would be Aokiji.
Yes, Aokiji.
Yeah, because he has the blatant scar from fire. It fits all the concepts.
Like missing a leg, missing an arm. Like he's missing everything. He's marked by flames.
Yeah, and an admiral would be in your way for the One Piece, even if he's not outright looking for it, right? Like an admiral at the end of the day is a road stop in most pirate dreams. So, and
not to mention, like, nobody knows where he is. He works for Blackbeard apparently, or he's allianced with him, and he's an admiral, so he has those connections. And if, you know, the Poneglyph is on Hachinotse, and if Aokiji is allied with Blackbeard, then he should know something about it.
Yeah.
But at that point, why not just, you know, call him Aokiji?
Yeah.
Like, just man marked by flames. They want to keep it ambiguous.
I think one of my favorite options right now, but this is a stretch on the terms. I'm waiting for the official translations, because this chapter changes a decent amount with the officials. Not saying that TCB is wrong, but like, you know, this chapter especially is like, you could probably phrase a lot of these things differently.
Oh, for sure.
Because like they were saying in the TCB that it could be a burn or a scar shaped like fire, and then one of my viewers translated the kanji, and one of the ways to translate it would be scars of the sun, but then the literal one would be scratched by fire. So then it's very interesting, because like two points was like technically redheads, like there's a negative connotation, a positive connotation, but one of the things is like they're kissed by the sun or kissed by fire. That's what gave them the red hair. So it could mean Shanks is here, or not Shanks is here, but they're referring to Shanks in this light. And what's very interesting about all this is it doesn't seem like Luffy or his crew read any of the newspapers, because it doesn't seem they're reacting to Sabo at all, whereas everyone else did. And so like there's a whole gray area of who these could be. And then the other option besides Shanks, given Shanks has showed up previously, is Yarouge, actually, because Yarouge was very tied to Kid's storyline in the sense that wherever Kid was, Yarouge was right next to him. So like when Kid started the alliance and Kaido fell down, Yarouge was up there just right above him. When Kid went to Big Mom's Island, the Whole Cake Island, Yarouge went right after, or before, or right after. I think it was right after. So, and that mean if we're saying Kid was looking at poneglyphs, then we can kind of apply that Yarouge is also probably looking for them too, and he's another important supernova that Luffy should know but doesn't know, and like might garner worldwide, newsworthy attention. So
that would be a good way to time in.
Yeah, and he has flame-like tattoos. And the thing is, in Japanese culture, tattoos are like frowned upon. Tattoos are like, you could say like a scar, or not a great thing. And so I want to look more into the like how it could be referenced, because I know that like if my Asian parents see a tattoo, they're like, yuck, like gross, blah, blah,
what's
blah,
going on?
Yeah, so it could very easily be seen as like a burn, like a scar, like that kind of thing.
I made sorry to go on a tangent here. I went to Japan for a little bit. A couple years ago, and since I have a good amount of tattoos, let me tell you, it is not easy being an Asian person with tattoos in Japan, especially if they think you're Japanese.
Because you could pass as Japanese.
I could pass as Japanese. I'm Asian. It's easy. And it's hard because like if you're a white person or a different race, and you go to Japan with tattoos, they would know like, oh, he doesn't belong here, it's not his culture. Exactly. But they look at me and they're like, oh my god, this guy is Japanese, he has tattoos, I'm gonna die. Like this man's gonna murder my family, I swear. So since public transportation is a big thing in Japan, every time I would sit in a bus, like the old ladies around me would just stare at me, like back up a little bit, grab their purse. I'm like, oh dude, like you make me want to rob you right now. Like oh man, old lady, don't push me. Like it's crazy. And it doesn't help that so the tattoos up here kind of whatever, they're all like wacky, random, but I have a leg tat that kind of flows in a very like static way. So it kind of looks like somewhat gang related.
Ooh.
So whenever I have like shorts on, they're like, oh freak, like this guy's gonna do something bad here, he's gonna shoot up the bus.
They do have really good cover-ups for tattoos now. So
oh no, I love it. I love all the bad looks, man, let me tell you. Like when Miss Miyuki like clenches her purse in fear for her life when she sees me, it actually makes me happy. Like when I see the when I went to Japan and I saw like the high schoolers like like back up a little bit, I was like, oh, here we go. Here we go. Like my Asian privilege is coming out now. Like I can finally take advantage of this.
We're on YouTube. Everyone's gonna
I know. I love Japan.
Yeah.
Japan is awesome. I would never do that either, by the way. That's all jokes. I would never hurt anybody, nor would I want to.
When you post this, put the disclaimer, this is caught for comedic entertainment purposes.
Yeah, it's like flashing bright red, comedic purpose.
Yeah, that's
satire.
It's funny. Maybe Sai's the guy we're talking about here. Who knows?
Gosh.
Like, yeah, honestly, this chapter was, incredible place to leave off on. Because it's classic Oda here. Like that, I was trying to tell people are like, isn't it just simple? Isn't it just Sabo? Isn't it just Aokiji? And it's funny because everyone who said that, they all had different, like nobody had the same answer when they said it's just simple. It's just this person. It's like, no, it's not. Every person is saying a different thing. Yeah. And Oda has doing that on purpose, which is why One Piece is incredible. You get a break week and you're thinking about One Piece more than it would be if you released a chapter. Right, yeah. It's like that.
what you said is very true though. Like people are saying Sabo, Aokiji, and etc., but they're not explaining why. Like you have to bring that character and tie them to the One Piece. Like they have to know something. It has to make sense for them to know something about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oda
Like,
gave us like 5 or 6 context clues, like the One
yeah,
Piece marked by flames, newsworthy, Law has this reaction,
having no
Robin's
leads.
question mark, Luffy, like it's not known. Yeah, no leads. It's so weird. Like there's so many
And
clues that we should be theory crafting about who this
yeah,
is.
another wild card. Sorry to break you off. Another
No.
wild card that I've heard people say is Scopper Gabin.
Yeah. Scopper Gaban. Yeah.
And the big thing is that we don't see any scars on him, obviously. Like he has no real scars on his body, but that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Everything could change, and we've already met Rayleigh, right? Like we've met a couple of Roger pirates. The only Roger pirate that's really named that we haven't met yet is Scopper.
Yeah.
So like, where is he? What is he doing?
And I always think that Scopper is going to be really, really important. This is like a stretchy theory because like the naming scheme is right. Gold, Roger, Silver's Rayleigh, Scopper, Copper, Gaban. And the thing is, Copper is actually the most important thing because when you think about, this is the way I think about it, is that those are all metals that are conductors and Luffy is an insulator. And so when you think about the people who drove the era, it's the Roger pirates. As Gold Roger, he was the conduit for the golden age of pirates, and silver isn't typically used in that context, and we see that exact thing, but copper is the most important conduit, and it's often used in junction with rubber. So it's kind of like it to me, it's always felt like, ooh, Copper Gaban.
He's gonna come in.
Yeah,
he's gonna help it big.
He's gonna be really helpful for Luffy. I think he's gonna be super helpful.
And not to mention, I think it's important, and Scopper does, he does hop in here because Kid says we have no leads, and that makes sense because if he's a Roger pirate, he is incognito mode. You have no leads on him. That's the same with Rayleigh. Nobody knows where the heck Rayleigh is except for Luffy.
And that's
whenever they see him, they're like, oh my god, it's him.
That's a beautiful parallel to Sabaody because we were introduced to Rayleigh because of Kid and Law. They had the Law panel and then Kid, and Kid was like, it's Dark King's Rayleigh. And then Rayleigh is just like, hey, don't talk about me like that, you know? So like we got introduced like that. So maybe that happens again here where we get introduced to another Roger pirate with these other 2 important characters here. So yeah.
It's big, man. There's so many things to theorize about.
Yeah, and this is like super small, like I just want to hear your thought on it. Do you think it's out of pocket that they're leaving Wano, but they're not going to explore underwater Wano? They have Jinbei and then they have a submarine ship and they're just going to be like, yeah, peace, whatever.
I see. Here's the thing. If I was the captain of the Straw Hats or whatever, I would explore ancient Wano, right? Yeah. Like I would take over. I'd be the next Kaido. But I'm, but I'm not in the story. Yeah. But if I was Luffy, if I was in his position, I still wouldn't want the ancient weapon, but I would want to know about ancient Wano. I want to know what happened down there. And they have the means. It's like you said, they have the submarine, they have Jinbei, and they have been in Wano for over a week. They've been here for a good amount of time. So you have to remember, like, 7 days have passed. And not to mention, they fought Green Bull on the 7th day. And now you have Rise of Shinobu who are, pruned out. They became raisins. And then we spent even more time here. Enough time to where Shinobu could make a full recovery. Like, what is that? Like another couple of days?
Yeah.
So we have a lot of time to actually go down there and explore. Like, it's not going out of the way per se. And it's, in a way, its own adventure. So I'm surprised Luffy and the crew didn't want to at least check it out.
Yeah, like I was expecting him to be like the Star Eyes, like when he heard of Skypiea, like underwater city, and then like him to just say like Atlantis, like just randomly, like no context,
like,
and
something
like,
crazy.
Yeah, like and then he's just like ooh, and like the thing is, before we went to Skypiea, he went ocean diving, and he was super excited by that, and like the monster trio were all diving with barrels. I don't know if you remember this. It was like chapter 220 or something like that. And I'm like, yo,
that's
why are we going into Wano like this? Like, are we actually not going to explore it? Like, even if it's not like, a significant time, just like mention it or like acknowledge some things that were like, oh, that's interesting about underwater Wano.
I think the one thing that Oda could say that could like make it, you know, true to where Luffy wouldn't want to go is Luffy just doesn't care about history. Like, do you remember the history of Fishman Island?
Yeah,
like
he was just
freaking
like,
Jinbei was going off on it. Everybody was listening in. Luffy fell asleep.
Yeah,
he didn't care.
He also did that to Nami's backstory.
Yeah,
he's just like
he doesn't care at all.
Yeah, I mean, but what's really interesting here, you're right about the Luffy thing. I think just the idea of him when excited, what he learned from it, cared about it, maybe not less so, or what he can learn about it less so. But one thing to me is that underwater Wano, that's the land of gold. Like the one we're on,
so much down there.
Yeah, because they called it the land of gold, and that was apparently the original Wano. So what we were on, it wasn't the land of gold, that was. So like we have to figure out, like, I didn't see any gold. We didn't see any gold up there. Did they carry all the gold? Like, I don't know. And it's so weird that like I'm expecting like a golden bell down there almost, like,
oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, and it's just like I don't know what to think if we're just gonna skip over underwater Wano. That's one of the weird things.
There's a lot of like small plot things that we never got in Wano that I feel like if we had an extra, 10 or so chapters, we could have definitely explored. But I think Oda's just trying to like speed up the pace, and he wants to skip over a couple of things. He doesn't want to like explain in depth about why characters aren't doing things.
Yeah, so like
it's kind of like a show don't tell in a way.
That's where my Amatsuki theory comes in, and I think those other things that weren't addressed, those would get addressed with the Amatsuki theory video. But this one is a little bit different because like outside of learning about Pluton, apparently we're not going to learn about it now. They don't know what it is, they just know it's there. So like we can walk away from that. But like if we walk away from exploring first person the underwater Wano, that's not something we can just like allude back to, unless Oda just like, oh yeah, we did explore it, and it's like a flashback of them going down and we just don't see it now, and maybe they found something that's relevant to us later on and not now. But like I feel like Oda would want to drop something like that on us, right? So
yeah,
weird.
I mean, there could also be a possibility too, because somebody made like a whole list of things that were unresolved in Wano, but I feel like a lot of big things that were unresolved in Wano could be summarized or at least brought into light during the Void Century flashback. I feel like the Void Century flashback's gonna be long. Like I feel like we're gonna be in there for a minute, learning about Joy Boy, the world before, and all these crazy revelations. And maybe Oda is saving that big twist for that flashback.
Just like
he could explain. Yeah.
Just like my future Void Century video, it's going to be long and exciting. It's going to be great.
Dude, yeah, make that prediction. Go crazy with it. And I'm telling you, we're going to get that Void Century pretty soon. Oda's hyping it up too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw, but he said it's actually one of his favorite things he's looking forward to.
Oh, I didn't. You got to send me these resources, bro. I need to see the resources of the unresolved Wano lines. Yeah, I have a whole channel on my Discord for like those. The
unresolved Wano lines, I actually knocked like 9. I actually answered all of his questions at once, like in a thread.
Oh wow!
But it was also me being dismissive, saying, "Hey, we're gonna Void Century flashback." That is my band-aid.
Yeah.
That was my band-aid for everything. Every question, like Land of Gold, Ryuma's grave, and etc.
Yeah,
it's like
makes sense.
Zoro's lineage. It's like we'll get that eventually. Like I wouldn't be surprised if your Amatsuki video and all those families tie in to the Void Century, and we get to see the first of all of them, and maybe one of them looks like surprisingly similar to Zoro.
Yeah. It's again, like connecting all the missing dots is I think it's gonna feel nice. It's like a lot of people are upset, like, why didn't this happen? Why didn't that happen? And it's like, well, it's probably because we're gonna get a huge payoff later for sure. Yeah, that's the way it feels like to me.
We definitely are. Like Oda doesn't really have like a lot of loose ends that he won't tie up or has not tied up.
Yeah, the fact that he brought Vera back up like this, like from chapter 228, right? Like,
oh my gosh, yeah.
That just tells. Honestly, when he did that, I was just like, that means we're not looking deep enough. Like,
yeah, like, bro, it was a throwaway line. It was just like a singular line that nobody cared about.
And it could be a red herring, but I mean, we'll find out very soon. If the next island is Vera, then no, it's not a storyline, and we have not been looking at the story as deeply as Oda apparently wanted us to.
What if he goes even farther back and he goes back to that what is that dude Gaimon that's trapped in a treasure chest?
Oh,
What if he goes back to that and like one of like you know how they went
that
up
is
and all
his
the
favorite
treasures were
character.
emptied? Yeah,
Yeah.
Like what if in those treasure chests were like important pieces, rubbings of the Poneglyph or something? Like something stupid.
It. I don't know. All I know is that we had some funny conversations about the One Piece earlier today, right? Like the whole two piece, a bunch of other things, right? So it's who knows. Oda is
A wacky man.
is building up in a way like we've had so many theories, and somehow he one ups them. The Cross Guild, like, yeah, people think Mihawk joining, you said the spoilers, and then like the crocodile thing that didn't make it to the mainstream community. Now I want to know about the spoiler theories, but like the idea that all the warlords joined up under Buggy, that's not so crazy, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's Oda level madness. So,
And one last thing I want to mention before we end off here is
Yeah.
again about the cross guild, since you brought it back up. When you think of a cross, there's usually like 4 points to it. So I was like wondering, like, I wonder if there's some other warlords that we haven't heard about yet. We have Crocodile, we have Mihawk. What if Boa and Weevil also joined in as well? So we have the 4 points of the cross all intersecting at Buggy. I think that'd be kind of cool. Or people have mentioned that the cross just refers to Mihawk's cross necklace that he wears all the time. But honestly, it could be either one, or it could just be a throwaway title.
yeah,
But
I
I
think
feel like there could be something bigger to it.
I think Boa probably not, but Weevil, if we think about it, if it's like Buggy was related to Roger, Mihawk is related to Shanks, Crocodile is related to Luffy, and then the Weevil related to Whitebeard, maybe there is like a thematic thing that's
And
connecting
not to
them.
mention Miss Bakken, the person who's pretty much controlling Weevil, loves money. So if Buggy has this system where he's hunting Marines for money, and we last saw Weevil destroying Marines, it's like, wait a minute, like, he could make a fat profit. Miss Bakken could be living in, LA pretty soon. She might have some Botox coming in. Like, anything, like, everything's can happen.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I threw this out in the throwaway my Godfather Shanks video, but money is one of those things. Whether Buggy has money, one thing someone was saying was like maybe he gives out territory, like maybe pirates do something else in terms of rewards. But then I was like, wait a second, there's a character who's amassed a mass amount of money. Wapol is insane for this because he's like one of the richest people from our understanding, because he has a whole toy empire, and the other person who would play that role was Dufeld, and I think Dufeld might have died. Stussy might have killed him in Whole Cake Island. So
I think he's gone.
Yeah, and he was the loan shark, so like it would make sense if he was there, but like maybe Wapol is funding Buggy.
Here's another thing too. So if Wapol is funding Buggy, then this would also lead credence to what he might have told Big News Morgans. Do you remember that he showed up and he said, "Hey, I got some news for you"? He called in. He phoned in on the telephone. He hit up News Channel 5. And he said,
Wapol did that?
Yes, he did that. After the Reverie, he called in. What if he called in by saying, "Hey, Buggy has Crocodile Mihawk under him, and Wapol is the one funding the entire foundation"? I mean, Buggy has money though, right? He has the mercenary service, maybe Captain John's treasure. Buggy could have funded this himself, but if he has Wapol behind him as well, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Like this could get kind of crazy.
Because even with having like Yonko level money, because I'd imagine Big Mom has a lot of money. I imagine Kaido, even Luffy probably has a decent amount of money somewhere. I mean, he has Nami, right? So but like I don't think he has like Celestial Dragon money. You know what I mean? But Wapol is different. Wapol has a global empire, and that's like money laundering 101.
Yeah, and he's part of the black market. We know Buggy is too. So I mean, they could have, crossed paths at some point. Their character thematics, tie in line, like
circus, clown, toys, kit, like wow. And then he also has Wapol metal too. How did we end up ending this?
And not to mention that you said it, Buggy manufactures weapons. What if he makes it out of the Wapol metal? Like, there's a lot of things here.
How did we end up on like one of the highest notes?
Yeah,
like
at the very end, I gotta go.
yeah. So but you know, that being said, we gotta go, but this isn't the end.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a thing on my, I don't know if Monday Voice of All Things or the knock up stream on Thursday, but I'll let you know.
Either one of those days works for me.
It's incredible how like we last time we did a 4-hour 5-hour conversation, 2 hours on yours, 2 hours on mine, and then we're gonna do that again with this one. This is so fun.
It's easy. The conversation flows well when you have good company. Thank you, ParVision, for joining me, man. I'm excited to be on your stream later on. You want to give yourself a big old shout out as we head out here?
Yeah, thank you again, Sai, for, you know, like all the great times. I'm always popping in your streams.
It's a lot of fun, man.
Always super welcoming, and as out of pocket as you are, you make it warm and cozy wherever you go, whatever stream we're on, or conversation we're having.
You know, making fun of refugees on like a simulator.
You said you're gonna hide that in you were gonna.
Oh, dude, I have a YouTube video where I do the whole thing, man, on my second channel.
Oh my goodness!
I uploaded it. Yeah, no, it's crazy.
You're a madman, Sai. But so if you guys, you know, enjoyed the conversation and you want to see more of my theories content, most of my things are theories. It's on my main channel, ParVision. It's on YouTube. My next, I think, favorite thing that I'm doing, I'm doing the streams. Catch me on the Discord links. I have a second channel for my VODs where I do all that. But my favorite thing right now, clearly I'm enjoying these chapters, and I have chapter analysis every week on as a podcast. So like if you go on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, wherever it is, ParVision, you'll see Last Saga. And so I'll be uploading an episode today for chapter 1056 and talk some points that we mentioned here and some other points. But yeah, and then I'm looking forward to having Sai again on my stream next week. So thank you again, Sai, and hopefully, you know, your viewers enjoyed this very long stream.
They love you. But yeah, no, I gotta double down. You guys gotta check out Par. He has some really cool freaking theory videos on his channel. He puts in a lot of work, and they are long. Like, he's not joking when he says he does like a podcast format. That is even true for his theory videos. So pop one on, let it chill in the background. You can listen to all of his points. He has a lot of good connectors there, and it's always good having you on, man.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Always enjoy the conversations, bro.
Well, thank you guys for coming in. We'll see you guys next time on his stream. And also, like he said, he's tagged down below. He's in the title. Just click it and you'll find him.